Jackie had been planning not to leave the house all week. Even better, for the whole vacation. The past 6 months at work had been tough. 2 doctors in her department had quit at once. Management had no intention of hiring new ones. It was much easier to distribute the workload among those unlucky enough to stay. Jackie was among them, and sincerely couldn't understand why she should work 3 times as hard for the same pay. But she couldn't leave either. How? How could she abandon patients and colleagues? Besides, her department was not easy. Abdominal surgery. She thought she'd leave soon. But she had to wait for Mr. Beak to be discharged. Anxiously, due to his post-operative complications. She needed to see him through to the end. And then someone else would delay her. You couldn't just leave your patients to fate's whims. You couldn't. Jackie was often scolded for caring too much about her patients. They said, "You can't do that. Work should stay at work." How not to get attached to a sick person? A doctor is a symbol of hope. The closest person in the world for a while. And Professor Richter at the Institute always said that healing should involve not only the scalpel, but also words. Sincerely wishing for the person to leave the hospital healthy. Jackie believed in this and didn't understand the formalism in medicine. A sick person is first and foremost a person, not a patient, and not a medical history. So she worked diligently. Her first vacation in 6 years. Unbelievable. Jackie was catching up on sleep. It was good that Renee didn't bother her. She understood that her mom needed to recover. She understood everything. She was 14 years old. On the second day, Jackie wandered around the house, ate, and watched TV. On the third day, she remembered she had a lot to do. She needed to clean up, buy new curtains, plan renovations for Renee's room. But she felt too lazy to go to the store and look for paint and a new box shelf. So in the morning, Jackie ordered Renee to figure out how she wanted her room to look. "Sweetie, you think about it for now. Okay? We'll decide what and how to do it later," she said over breakfast. "Otherwise, we'll be running around aimlessly and end up not buying anything." "I want to paint the ceiling like the sky," Renee said. "And the walls white. And have a round lamp on the ceiling. You know, a circular one. And also a cork board on the wall to hang photos." "Well, then find out where we can buy all that," Jackie sighed. "We'll go tomorrow. Or we'll order it." "Are you too lazy, Mom?" Renee asked. "I am," she admitted honestly. "But I promised you. So the renovation will happen." "Okay, Mom, relax." Renee nodded. "I'll find everything. Don't worry." The woman smiled. "And also, daughter, don't even think about going into medicine." "Okay, Mom, I'll think about it," Renee said. After breakfast, Jackie washed the dishes and settled on the couch in front of the TV. Oh God, how good it was to do nothing. Just sit and not think that at any moment she might be called to a patient, or that someone's relative might come and she'd have to explain for a long time why the surgery couldn't be avoided, or convince the patient that despite being a woman, she was perfectly capable of handling the upcoming operation. It's always been her problem. For some reason, many think that surgery is a man's job. Surprisingly, her age works in her favor. She's 42 and looks solid. Jackie is trusted. But there was a time when she was driven mad by those incredulous looks, by the worry in people's eyes, as if saying, "Who entrusted you with a scalpel, girl? Can I have a male surgeon instead?" She even cried sometimes. They told her that a female surgeon isn't a doctor, and there's no way for her to thrive here. "Go into calm therapy," everyone said. But Jackie couldn't see any other path. It's a dynasty, after all. Her grandfather was a surgeon, and so was her father. Since childhood, she loved to study surgical manuals and imagine herself in a white coat, with a scalpel in her hand. However, her father was against it too. He thought she wouldn't cope. To avoid disappointing her father, Jackie strived to become the best. And she did. Though she still sometimes faces disbelief. But at least now, she's only criticized for being a woman. Jackie couldn't resist and dialed the head nurse's number. "Rose, how are things there?" "Everything's fine here. Your Mr. Brown is stable. Phil says his tests are good. Mrs. Siemens is scheduled for surgery tomorrow. Prepare some blood." I didn't like his coagulogram, the woman sighed. "And also, okay, Jackie, rest." Rose interrupted. "We'll wait for you in the department in 2 weeks. And until then, I won't say another word about work." Jackie hung up. Rose was right. She's good. She's 7 years older than Jackie. Such nurses are worth their weight in gold. They know and see more than doctors with extensive experience sometimes. When young Dr. Jackie first arrived in the department, it was Rose who helped her settle in and comforted her when she cried once again in the residence room because they didn't trust her with surgeries, when patients refused her altogether, because she was young, because she was a woman, because she had little experience. The phone rang. Jackie saw the name on the display. Haley, her close friend. They studied together at the institute. Only Haley chose cosmetology and succeeded greatly. She now has her own clinic, earns money, looks like a doll. No one believes she's 40. Everyone thinks she's no more than 30. Jackie marveled at how they managed to maintain their friendship. After all, both of them had almost no free time. Thank God for phones. "Hi, Jackie. So, are you finally released?" "I am." Jackie smiled. "I slept for 24 hours. Can you imagine?" Renee got scared. Checked if I was breathing at all. "But you worked for 2 days before that." Her friend laughed. "Jackie, maybe you'll come work with us after all. You'll retrain calmly with us." There was a significant pause. Haley has been inviting her to join her for a long time now. The salary would be higher, and she'd have more free time. But Jackie wasn't drawn to cosmetology. She loved her job. With all its drawbacks, nerves, sleepless nights, she loved the joy of pulling a patient back from the brink, bringing back someone who was almost in the grave. Yes, she worked, to the detriment of her own daughter, who had to prepare her own lunches and dinners. But Jackie saved lives. Will that be the case in a cosmetology clinic? Of course not. "I won't go," Jackie replied. "It's boring there." "Is it fun for you?" Haley snorted in offense. "I'm not rushing you. I'll wait as long as it takes." "Jackie, what are your plans for the vacation?" "Well, we'll be doing renovations in Renee's room," Jackie replied. "We'll do it ourselves. There's not much money. I've been saving up, but my boot store and Renee's jacket and phone broke. And if you worked with me, your salary would be higher, and you'd have enough money," Haley said. "I wanted to tell you. Do you talk to Oscar?" "Not often." "Why?" Jackie was surprised. "He's married. Career is his priority." "What happened?" "Oh, Jackie, don't freak out. But Oscar landed in prison for killing his wife," Haley said. Jackie gasped in surprise, covering her mouth with her palm. "Oscar? In prison? No, that can't be." Memory vividly illuminated what seemed to be long left behind. She wished she could forget, but no, the past was already replaying chapters of her life like a bright movie reel. Until the 6th grade, Jackie was bored in school. Everything they taught in school, her grandmother had already taught her, so it was dull. However, Jackie preferred to be true to herself and not claim that her school years were the best in her life. It wasn't like that at all. That year, Jackie looked forward to summer. Vacation meant sleeping until noon, reading what she wanted, not what was assigned. And she could hang out with her friends in the yard, watch movies, and forget about school routines for a while. Besides, Dad promised they'd take a real camping trip, but he promised that a year ago too. It just didn't work out then. He wasn't allowed to take time off work. No surprise. Mom says Dad is irreplaceable. He's one of the best surgeons in town. Jackie was proud of her dad. If only he had more time. Jackie rarely sees him, even though they live in the same apartment. He's either at work or resting after work. Well, or writing some smart articles in his office. And entering it was forbidden for the girl. Although Jackie still went, sat in the chair with a book, and watched her dad's serious face, his hands flying over the typewriter keys. In those moments, for some reason, she wanted to cry with pride. Her dad is a doctor. He saves lives. One day, Jackie will be just like him. But first, she has to finish school and go to college. On the last day before vacation, Mrs. Thompson, the teacher, announced that before resting, they would have to work a little. We'll have a general cleaning in the classroom. She said, "That's child labor." Peter, the class bully, shouted from the back, "It's illegal, by the way, and is sticking gum to the desk legal?" Mrs. Thompson asked, "Is writing all sorts of things on the desk legal?" "I won't go," whispered Jackie's desk mate, Tessa. "I didn't scribble or draw anything, but I have to." Jackie sighed. "Dad says it's necessary. If I don't go, he'll make a scene." "Yeah, you'll go alone, like last time," Tessa said. "We actually have a janitor." Mrs. Thompson must have heard Tessa's words. "Our janitor washes the floors, but she's not obligated to erase your doodles from the desks. So I'll see all of you in the classroom the day after tomorrow. If anyone doesn't come, there will be problems next year, like extra classroom duties, for example. Now, you can go." Everyone started to gather, murmuring discontentedly. "I definitely won't go." Tessa frowned. "Mom will say we're going to the sea. Tickets are for tomorrow." "Why shouldn't I go to the sea?" "Are you really going?" Jackie asked. "I am. But in a week." Tessa winked at her friend. "And I won't go either." Peter jumped in next to Jackie. "And you, Jackie, will probably go. You are conformist." Oscar, who appeared out of nowhere, suggested. "You're the conformist." Jackie clenched her fists. "If you're so smart, go straight to college." Jackie genuinely disliked Oscar. He was transferred to the class in the middle of the school year. It turned out that his father was in the military, so the family often moved. There was something special about this boy. He didn't bully others, didn't misbehave, always had neat hair and clean clothes. Instead of a backpack, he carried a folder. Outwardly, Oscar was very reserved, and nobody ever picked on him. Oscar did well in school, which immediately made Jackie, accustomed to being the best, feel like she had competition. His ears were particularly annoying to her, terribly unpleasant, pink, and sticking out like an elephant's. "It won't work out," sighed Oscar. "Those are the rules. First, school, and then university." Jackie lifted her backpack from the chair. "Too bad. It wouldn't hurt to have you gone." "You're so mean." Oscar shrugged. "Okay, I won't bother you anymore." And he quickly worked to the exit. Jackie watched her classmate leave with a disdainful look. "Know-it-all," she muttered. "Tessa, why does he think so highly of himself?" "Well, he's just smart," Tessa said. Oscar truly was smart, and he knew it well. Perhaps that's what irritated Jackie about him. Although at 12 years old, she didn't fully understand it yet. To her, it was important to be the best, for the sake of her father, who dreamed of her going to medical school and becoming a doctor. There was, of course, also Tessa, also an excellent student, but she struggled with math. Jackie had to help her with tests and homework. Tessa still got excellent grades, but Jackie knew that she surpassed her in something, and that was enough for her. No, she loved Tessa and would never admit to herself that she was happy when her friend didn't understand how to solve another equation. But still, Oscar was better than her at everything. He read a lot, answered questions in class, competed in Olympiad, and won prizes. Jackie couldn't stand feeling second best. Maybe her dad was right. Were boys really inherently smarter than girls? After a short work after school, Jackie returned home. Her mom was preparing lunch, and her dad was on shift. The girl decided to read a bit in her room. She changed clothes and settled on the couch with a book. However, she couldn't focus on reading. Strange thoughts crept into her mind. Maybe she was really a disappointment to her parents. Jackie hadn't thought about it until she accidentally overheard their conversation. She was passing by her parents' bedroom at night, feeling thirsty. She tiptoed, trying not to make a sound. Her dad couldn't stand it when Jackie left her room at night. And suddenly she heard his quiet voice. "Lisa, it will be too difficult for her. What's the point? Should we spend money on tutors when we're tight on cash?" Jackie understood that they were talking about her. The talk about tutors had been going on for a long time. Mom believed they were necessary already because Jackie planned to go to medical school for the Faculty of Medicine. And the competition there was always huge. Dad thought it was too early to think about it. Plus, he had some money problems. Jackie wasn't involved in these problems, but she felt that her mom had started saving on food. "Why?" Mom asked. "What's wrong with her? Girls go to medical school and become doctors. She won't become a surgeon. It's not a woman's job." Dad objected. "At most, she'll become a therapist or a dermatologist. Is it worth hiring tutors for that? If she doesn't get in, she'll go somewhere else, maybe into teaching." "Chris, you're too categorical," Mom said softly. "I'm sorry I couldn't give birth to a son. What could I have done?" "Yeah, I know. Don't be upset," Dad said. They both stayed silent for a while. Jackie was afraid to breathe and stood still. Finally, Dad continued, "You forgive me too. You know, I dreamed of continuing the dynasty in our children. But we didn't have any female doctors in our family. And Jackie, well, she's trying, of course. At her age, I was already reading serious manuals and discussing them with my father. But she's still a girl. No, I love her. You know I'll do anything for her. But I'm against medicine. Let her choose something calmer." "But she dreams of becoming a surgeon. Like you. And you know that." Mom objected. "There are no female surgeons," he said. "And if there are, they're usually someone's protégés. They won't trust her with anything more serious than an appendectomy. So the question of tutors is closed." Lisa. Jackie never made it to the kitchen that night. She returned to her room and cried the whole night, burying her face into the pillow. And then she started spending even more time with her textbooks. She would borrow her father's books from his library, reading at first without understanding much. But with time, she began to grasp surgical procedures, types of inflammations, and other medical matters. Her father watched her with pleasure, but she could see doubt in his eyes. There was no pride, no joy in her achievements, just a question. Will you manage? Will you overcome? After all, you're just a girl, not a son who would continue the dynasty. And now there was Oscar on top of it. Her father would surely be proud of such a son. But was it Jackie's fault that she was born a girl? She didn't choose her gender before birth. It just happened. But it didn't matter. She would prove to her father what she was capable of, and he would surely be proud of her. On the day of the general cleanup, Jackie couldn't help but go to school. Tessa tried to dissuade her, but Jackie couldn't stand breaking the rules. Yawning, she entered the classroom, expecting to see at least 3 or 4 people there. But all she saw was Oscar and Mrs. Thompson. Oscar was diligently cleaning the desk. Mrs. Thompson stood next to him, arms crossed over her chest. "I knew it would be just you," she said. "Hello, Mrs. Thompson," Jackie said. "Oh, Jackie came. My smart kids," Mrs. Thompson smiled. "All right, take a rag and start cleaning from that end." "Hey, Jackie." Oscar winked at her. "I wasn't expecting you." "Hi, Oscar," Jackie muttered. It was clear they would be here until evening. Tessa was right. Jackie shouldn't have come. Mrs. Thompson grumbled a little more, then headed to the teacher's lounge for tea, giving some final instructions. "All right, wipe the windows again, and take down the curtains. That's all. I'll be back soon." They were left alone. Jackie angrily scrubbed the desk, regretting she had come here at all. Oscar worked calmly, humming to himself. "Can you keep it down?" Jackie said. "What?" Oscar didn't understand her. "Stop howling. Can you?" she said. "It's annoying." "Oh, I'm sorry, miss." Oscar playfully waved the rag. "But sometimes I just can't control myself. You should try." "I sympathize. I read that rabies is incurable." Oscar sighed. "Strange that you're not afraid of water." "Oh, you." Jackie threw the rag at him, but missed. "Deal with your own issues." For the next 2 hours, they didn't exchange a word. Finally, the desks were scrubbed clean. Only the window remained. "I'll climb." Oscar sighed. "I'm taller after all. I can reach." "I can reach too," Jackie argued. "No, you're too small. Just hold the ladder." Jackie decided not to argue. Let him wash the windows if he wanted to. The boy took a bucket and a rag and climbed the ladder. Jackie stood, holding it. "Where are you going to apply?" Oscar suddenly asked. "What do you want to become?" "What's it to you?" Jackie snapped. "Just curious." He shrugged. "I want to become an architect. To build proper schools, not like ours." "What's wrong with ours?" "Well, everything. The corridors are huge. The classrooms are dark." Oscar wiped the window. "And the cafeteria is scary." "Ow." He stumbled. His hand shot up, hitting the glass. A ringing sound echoed. Jackie, as if in slow motion, watched as a crack spread across the glass. The bucket fell to the floor, dirty water spilling everywhere. "Damn it," Oscar muttered. "Come down, quickly," Jackie ordered. The boy slowly descended and sat on the floor. Jackie crouched beside him. Oscar held his hand to his chest, a bloody stain spreading across his white t-shirt. "Show me," she demanded. Oscar extended his injured hand to her. A cut ran across his palm, fortunately without any glass shards. "Wait." Jackie rushed to her bag. It was good that her dad taught her always to carry a first aid kit. "Do you know how?" Oscar asked quietly. "I do." Jackie nodded. "Dad taught me." "Hold still. I'm afraid of blood," he admitted. "I might faint," Oscar said weakly. "Then don't look," Jackie ordered. Oscar obediently turned away. "Yeah, we need to go to the she declared. "Your cut is deep. It's not far from here. I know where to go. Let's go." "What about Mrs. Thompson?" Oscar asked. Jackie reached out her hand, and he awkwardly got to his feet. "We'll tell her later. Let's go quickly." 10 minutes later, they were at the The nurse called Oscar's mom to inform her about what happened. Jackie sat on a bench outside the doctor's office. For Oscar, despite being annoying, his ears were too. But she still felt sorry for him. 15 minutes later, Oscar emerged from the office and flopped down next to Jackie. "Alive?" she asked. "Alive." Oscar nodded. 3 stitches. "They said you did a really good job bandaging it." "Oscar, there you are." A full-figured woman in a bright red dress with long white hair flew towards them. "My boy. My goodness." She hugged her son tightly. "This is Jackie. She helped me," the boy said. "We study together." Jackie Weaver. The woman looked attentively at the girl. "I've heard about your dad. He operated on my sister when her gallbladder got inflamed. You're my hero." With her other hand, she pulled the surprised Jackie towards her. Jackie nearly sneezed from the strong scent of the woman's sweet perfume. "No, this school needs to be fined," Oscar's mom said. "What if you had fallen? What if they had to amputate your hand?" "They wouldn't have to," Jackie said. "Well, anything could have happened." She frowned. "My name is Azalea. You're my heroine. Let's go to the school. I need to have a word with this Mrs. Thompson," Oscar reminded. Jackie and Oscar weren't present for the conversation between Mrs. Thompson and Azalea. They sat on a bench in the schoolyard. "You're not so bad after all," Oscar said. "And you're pretty cool. I couldn't have done that." Bandaging a hand quickly, figuring it out. "Yeah, you're not so bad either," Jackie smiled. Just a bit of a know-it-all. And you're afraid of blood. Bully Oscar nudged her lightly. And you're a know-it-all. She wrinkled her nose. Being a know-it-all is worse than being a bully. That summer they started communicating. They went for walks together, called each other on the phone. Usually, the call came at 9 in the evening. Jackie dragged the phone into her room, settled on the couch, and covered herself with a pillow. She didn't want her conversations with Oscar to be overheard by her parents. Jackie's mom even joked that the girl was in love. "What are you discussing that makes you so excited when you come out?" she would ask. But Jackie didn't feel love. With Oscar, she was interested and happy. Like her, he loved to read, and he played the guitar beautifully. He especially loved one song, "You're My Breath." Jackie tried to learn to play too, but nothing came out for her. In the end, she forgot about that idea. And in the autumn, they sat together at the desk. Jackie opened her eyes. Oscar in jail. He was harmless, like a guinea pig. He was always afraid of the sight of blood. She didn't even tell him about her work when they met. No, he didn't ask her to stop talking. But she noticed that Oscar would turn pale just from hearing about surgeries. He couldn't be a killer. But whatever Haley said, Jackie didn't believe that Oscar could kill anyone, especially his own wife. The woman knew nothing about their relationship. They rarely talked about personal matters, as if deliberately avoiding those topics. Of course, Jackie knew about Oscar's wife, knew her name and place of work, Zoe, the owner of a chain of Indian spice and souvenir shops. Jackie even went to one of her stores and bought excellent turmeric there. Oscar couldn't have killed her. He just couldn't. "Mom, what's wrong?" Renee peeked into the living room. "Did something happen? Did they call from work?" "No, dear." Jackie shook her head. "Oscar has problems. Haley, my friend, called." "It's okay. No problem is insolvable," Renee said. "You always say that, don't you? And I also tell you that you can't trust authorities, even mothers. Because I can also be wrong, Renee. Go to your room. I'll calm down now," Jackie said, not believing in herself at all. "And I'll make you tea," Renee decided. With chamomile, she went to the kitchen, leaving Jackie alone. Jackie looked at her reflection in the mirror of the old wardrobe. Strange. She didn't even get this nervous before the most complex surgeries. And now, her hands were trembling. Tears were welling up, and goosebumps ran down her spine. Lord, she took the news of Max leaving her, Renee's father, easier than this. The doorbell rang. Jackie rushed to the hallway. It was Haley. She looked great as always. A business-like blue suit, a white shirt, hair styled in a high stylish bun. Her eyes were amazing, smoky. Jackie felt like a beggar next to a princess. She had a nest on her head, was dressed in stretched-out sweatpants and a knee-length t-shirt. "What's up?" Haley was surprised. "Don't you ever groom yourself?" "I'm on vacation, actually." Jackie frowned. "I have the right." "Ha, sure." Haley nodded, kicking off her heels. "Prepare some sedatives. There's a story." "I thought you knew something." "No," said Jackie. "We haven't talked for 3 months. Then he went on a business trip and didn't call again." "Mom, the tea is ready." "Hi, Haley," Renee said. "Hi, Renee. Make me tea too, please," she asked. "Jackie, you should have married him after all. Then nothing like this would have happened." "Who?" Jackie asked with a tense voice. "Well, you're Oscar," said Haley. "You're a couple. I understood that as soon as you introduced me to him. Actually, he's just a friend, nothing more." Jackie's relationship with Oscar had become a tradition. She got used to having someone in her life who was a beacon. It was a kind of salvation in everyday failures and emotional disappointments. "Come on in. Tell me already. Don't keep me waiting," said Jackie. 5 minutes later, the women were sitting in the small kitchen. Renee brewed tea and went to her room. "Okay, the story is crazy," Haley began. One of my clients worked for Zoe in her store, was a manager there. Well, yesterday she told me that Zoe was killed. And there are some nasty rumors going around. I talked to her personally. And what rumors? Just listen to me and don't interrupt, said Haley. I also investigated through my channels. I have different clients, including from the police. So, I know some things, but not everything. Oscar had been married to Zoe for a long time. Jackie even attended his wedding. Oscar took a long time to choose his wife, carefully selecting what he thought was the perfect match. Zoe was a businesswoman, so Oscar's money didn't interest her, which was an important factor for him. The second factor was Zoe's beauty. She was truly stunning. Tall, slender, with long legs and gorgeous chestnut hair. Zoe's parents were also well off. Her father owned an art gallery. Her mother traded clothes in a large online store. I know all this perfectly well. Jackie interrupted. Oh, hold on, frowned Haley. Anyway, the birdie told me that things weren't going well between them lately. You know, they were heading for divorce. Didn't he tell you? No, Haley, I'm telling you, we didn't discuss such matters. He didn't complain about family life. Jackie shrugged. Well, apparently, things weren't going well between them. Haley continued. They were almost sleeping in separate bedrooms. But I heard this from Zoe's acquaintance who also does procedures for us. You have a lot of informants. Jackie marveled. Can you work for the police with such a network of agents? I have all the elite, declared Haley. The girls tell me a lot during procedures, and I remember. Anyway, Jackie, Zoe complained that everything was bad. Why? No one knows for sure, but it was heading for divorce. Oh, come on, said Jackie. They've been married for a long time. It's just a crisis. They simply cooled off towards each other. Oh, and Oscar dreamed of getting married once and for all his life. I remember he told me. Well, it didn't work out, Jackie. Listen, I know Oscar started traveling a lot for work, didn't want to be at home, and Zoe was calmly running her business. On the surface, they seemed like the perfect couple. But in reality, as far as I understand, they didn't have a marriage. They lived like neighbors, slept in different beds. And did your client tell you about the beds? Jackie asked in surprise. No, Haley replied irritably. But Zoe complained about lacking intimacy. Maybe he lost interest. Jackie smirked. He always had a lot of girlfriends. That's Oscar's temperament. And don't look at me like that. We never, not once. Haley, too bad. I still think you would have been the perfect couple, said Haley. Oh, come on, Haley. Jackie smiled at her memory. We've been friends since childhood. There can't be any romance with the person you used to throw snowballs at, who you learned to ride a bike with. Oh, okay, said Haley. Listen further. One time Oscar came back from another business trip. Zoe, apparently, decided to arrange a romantic dinner for him. Maybe she wanted to mend their relationship or revive past passion. Anyway, she met him in a lace robe, heels, full makeup. They had dinner, but what happened next? No one knows. Oscar's housekeeper found Zoe in the room with a knife wound. She was lying right there in her robe, a wound right in the heart. And Oscar was taking a shower at that time. No, do you think he's stupid? Exclaimed Jackie. To kill his wife in front of the housekeeper and then calmly go take a shower, that's the point. Haley lowered her voice. There shouldn't have been a housekeeper there. Zoe sent her home. Oscar probably knew about it. And she came back, forgot something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the housekeeper got scared, called the police. And then Oscar comes out of the shower and claims he doesn't know anything and didn't hear anything. Apparently, they argued over dinner, talked about divorce. Anyway, he didn't finish eating, left everything and went to wash up. And when he came out, his wife was lying dead. What a horror. Jackie rubbed her forehead with her hand. Haley, he couldn't have done it. He's afraid of blood. He's an intellectual. It's not his method. Haley, he would. Sorry for saying this. He would have poisoned her rather than stabbed her. Do you think so? Haley squinted. Oh, God. Haley, I don't believe Oscar is capable of such a thing, exclaimed Jackie. Then who did it? Zoe asked. Not the housekeeper, right? Everything points to him. Understand? He thought no one would be at home. That's one. He went to the shower to wash away the evidence. That's two. And he has a motive. If they divorce, he'll have to divide the property. He's rich, you know. Haley, that doesn't mean anything, said Jackie. He could have been framed. By whom? Haley looked at her friend. If you have any thoughts, then speak up, because he's the only suspect so far. His fingerprints were found on the knife, but he says he was cutting meat that Zoe served for dinner. Haley, he couldn't have killed her, Jackie repeated. I know it for sure, and if necessary, I'll prove it. 20 years ago, Jackie was terribly sleepy. Combining work and studies was not easy. Even now, she could barely stand on her feet after a night shift in the surgery department, where she worked as a cleaner. She went to meet Oscar from the army. She couldn't miss it, and his mom begged her to come with her. They stood on the platform, shivering from the cold wind. Summer this year turned out to be cool. Azalea was eagerly tapping her foot. She hadn't changed much since their first meeting. Still the same bright blonde, preferring red dresses and large jewelry. Just a little thinner since her husband died 2 years ago. Poor Oscar. How he suffered then. How he suffered then. He called Jackie every day, asking if his father had a chance of recovery, as if she were already a doctor. And she was only in her first year, hadn't even properly studied anatomy. Poor girl. Azalea hugged Jackie by the shoulders. Pale, thin. Oh, this medical education. Azalea, how's your gallbladder? It's fine. Doesn't hurt. I'm following the diet. She sighed. It's hard. You've banned all the tasty things for me. What's the point of living if you can't eat pastries? Nothing is allowed. Yes, nothing is allowed. Jackie nodded sternly. And don't forget to take your pills that were prescribed to you. I won't forget. And Layla still hasn't come, even though she promised. Azalea shook her head. Jackie grimly nodded. Yes, Layla, Oscar's girlfriend, hadn't shown up. And Jackie knew why. She met someone else, and it's been 6 months with him. They met by chance on the street. Layla was so happy, glowing with happiness. Jackie promised then that she would tell Oscar everything when he returned. And how to tell him. Oscar loved Layla. He even said he would marry her, and she could understand him. Layla was a beautiful girl, and Oscar always loved beautiful women. Oh, it seems like it was just recently he ran to his first date with Layla. And it's been over 1.5 years already. Jackie will always remember how he prepared for that date. They met in the park, as usual. They had a tradition of going to the city park on Saturdays. That day they met at the park entrance. Hey, hope of architecture. Jackie hugged Oscar by the shoulders. And hello to you, future world surgeon. He kissed her on the forehead. Listen, I've decided. You asked Layla out on a date. Jackie admired. Good for you. I told you, you just have to muster the courage. Let's go. I'll treat you to ice cream. Do you want some ice cream? He asked. I want. I'm terribly hungry. 4 classes today. Jackie sighed. Tell me, why do I need philosophy? Why? For general development. Oscar led her to the ice cream stand. Strawberry. Jackie nodded. Hello. Strawberry and chocolate, please. And Oscar handed the seller a bill. Anyway, we're going to a cafe with her. And she also wants to go to a party. You know, I think it's serious between us. Yes, going to a cafe and a party is very serious. Jackie took the ice cream. I think after that you can safely propose to her. Bully. Oscar joked. But I still love you. They strolled slowly along the alley. Jackie enjoyed her ice cream and thought about the upcoming philosophy exam. Oscar was pensive and quiet. Finally, Jackie decided to break the silence. Oscar, why are you like this? Me? The guy stirred. I'm just worried. Jackie, please don't laugh. Okay, I'll laugh. She promised. Go ahead. Tell me. He stopped. Jackie, I've never kissed anyone in my life. Oh, come on. She looked at him in amazement. What about Katie? What about Bella? That wasn't like that. But with Layla, I want to try. But I don't know how. He shrugged. And what should I do? And you want me to give you a master class? She laughed. Oscar's face remained serious. Jackie was taken aback. Are you serious? Well, you talked about Nelson. Well, yes, we kissed. Oscar, are you acting like a child? You'll figure it out. I won't. He lowered his gaze. Can you at least explain it in theory? Jackie, please, said Oscar. Jackie was lost in thought. She had lied about kissing Nelson. Their walks didn't lead to anything further. And when Nelson tried to get under her skirt on their third date, she slapped him and ran home. But she never told Oscar about it. Well, listen, she said, keep your hands to yourself. And don't rush. You have to be careful. She lectured him for 5 minutes on kissing. Jackie's knowledge was purely theoretical, gleaned from a few romance novels she borrowed from her mother. Oscar listened attentively. They sat down on a bench. Jackie, are we friends? Unexpectedly asked Oscar. Well, of course, we're friends. She nodded. Best friends. He squinted. What do you want? The girl frowned. Just say it straight. Can I try? Oscar blushed. I mean, with you. You don't mind, do you? I even bought gum so my breath wouldn't smell. You prepared. Jackie was surprised. So you went ahead to practice on me. Oh, wait. Will you come to me for practice before your wedding night too? Jackie, what are you saying? Oscar was scared. No, I'll figure it out myself there. I just don't want to embarrass myself. Jackie, we've known each other for 100 years. Remember when we slept together in a tent? Cuddled. It was cold then, Jackie said. And we were only 13. We were so little. Jackie, I really don't like you like that. Oscar started justifying. I mean, not romantically. When I think about you dissecting those guts in school, I feel sick. Thanks, Oscar. The girl replied. Actually, that's going to be my future job. Digging into guts. I'm not talking about that. He said. I mean, I don't have romantic feelings for you. You're my friend. Understand? And as a friend, I'm asking you to let me kiss you. Just quickly. Once. Then you'll tell me what went wrong. Give me your gum. Jackie held out her hand. And take one yourself. They kissed then. It was Jackie's first kiss ever. She didn't understand her feelings. Was she trembling from excitement? Or did she really like it? And why were his lips so tasty? Was it because of the chocolate ice cream? Or the scent of mint? For some reason, his hand ended up on her back. And she felt the warmth of his palm through her t-shirt. And suddenly her head was spinning. But it was a pleasant dizziness. And she didn't want it to end. Oscar backed away. His eyes were just a couple of centimeters from hers. His gaze was strange, wild, unfamiliar. And he was breathing heavily. For a few moments, the young people looked at each other. Well, how was it? He hoarsely asked. Oh, something. With my voice, Oscar cleared his throat and punched himself in the chest. Okay, Jackie replied in the same hoarse tone. I liked it. I mean, Layla will like it. Probably. Okay. He nodded. Want to go on the Ferris wheel? I do. Jackie jumped up. She felt terribly awkward. And why did she agree? Let's go. Oscar stood up, stumbled, and fell. Jackie screamed and squatted next to him. What's wrong? Did you hurt yourself? No. I'm fine. He sat down and rubbed his knee. There's some kind of stone here. Jackie looked around. There was no stone. Let's go ride, and then home, she said. I need to prepare for tomorrow's classes. She couldn't forget their kiss. Strange, awkward, friendly. Her first kiss. It was supposed to be so different. It was supposed to be a boy who would love her, not just as a friend, and whom she would love. And Jackie spent her first kiss on some big-eared Oscar. Apparently, the lesson wasn't in vain. Oscar dated Layla for 6 months, then went into the army. And now it's not Layla, but Jackie meeting him at the platform with a bouquet of silly cheap flowers. I wonder if he told his mom about us kissing. Doubtful. Jackie, do you have money? A sailor asked. I'll give you some if needed. I have everything. Jackie smiled. Dad's in a private clinic now. They don't pay much yet, but they promised to raise his salary. And Mom's feeling better. Jackie didn't want to talk about her mother. She had been treated for a year, suffering from headaches, and no one could find the cause. Her father was working himself to exhaustion to afford endless tests. The train in which Oscar was traveling was about to arrive at the platform. Azalea blushed, her eyes shining. Jackie caught herself feeling nervous too. After all, she missed Oscar. For 2 years, she had been walking in the park alone. At first, she even cried. She missed him terribly. Jackie never thought she would miss him so much. But then she got used to it, and Haley kept saying, think about it. Maybe he's your destiny. You're waiting for his letters and writing to him yourself. Write to him that you miss him. But Jackie didn't even think about writing that. If she said she missed him and even mentioned their kiss in the park, he'd still turn it into a joke, as they usually did. And Jackie would feel terribly foolish. They're just friends and will never be anything more. And Jackie's not his type. He likes tall, slim girls with model looks. Oscar was very tall. Jackie felt like a dwarf next to him. No long legs, no ample chest. She always talks about her surgeries and patients, and he's not interested in that. And she couldn't care less about his architecture. The train stopped. Jackie felt like her heart wasn't beating. She saw him getting off the train. He had gotten even thinner, just as tall as before. He noticed Jackie and his mom, smiled. Azalea rushed to her son and burst into tears, hugging him tightly. Jackie slowly walked towards them, squeezing the sweaty flowers in her hand. Hi, Jackie. He smiled at her. Your hair's grown. Yeah. How much time has passed? Here. And she handed him the bouquet. Welcome back, Oscar. For some reason, Jackie wanted to cry too, but she never did. She always knew how to hold herself together. Dad said it was one of the most important qualities of a future surgeon. She told him about Layla that same evening. They went to his house then. Azalea set the table, invited friends. Jackie was Oscar's only friend. After the dinner, he walked her home. Oscar, I didn't write to you, but Layla. Jackie started. No need. He interrupted her. I figured it out. She wrote a couple of lines once a month. Even an idiot would understand. And how are you? She asked gently. Nothing much, he replied. I knew she wouldn't wait for me. I felt it. Jackie, how about you? You didn't say anything. When was I supposed to? Jackie laughed. Your mom wouldn't let me get a word in. I'm fine. But as for Mom, no one knows yet, Jackie said. What about personally? He smirked. Found a perfect prince. No, only horrible ones like you so far. Jackie made a face. Bully. He stopped and pulled her into a hug, lifting her above the pavement. I missed you so much, nerd. She rubbed her cheek against his shoulder. I missed you too. Shall we go to the park on Saturday? Of course, let's go. And he gently set Jackie down. I'll buy you ice cream. I remember. Strawberry. I remember a lot of things. He suddenly hesitated. Jackie understood Oscar was referring to their first kiss. He fixed his gaze on her lips. Jackie suddenly felt hot. No, it's not right. He hasn't seen girls for a long time. That's why he's thinking about things he shouldn't. It will ruin everything. They might kiss, they might even sleep together, but then she'll lose a close friend. She's not for him, and he's not for her. And she can't risk everything they have just because he missed female warmth. But she wanted to kiss him so badly. And then what? Awkward dates, maybe even a bed. Perhaps she'll fall in love with him. And then he'll find someone else, better than Jackie. And that will break her heart. Suddenly, he softly began to sing, "You're my breath, oh, my bus," exclaimed Jackie. Oscar shook his head, as if coming out of a trance, and shifted his gaze from her lips to her eyes. "Well, bye, Jackie. See you Saturday. Our days, Haley. It's definitely not him." Jackie groaned. "We need to do something. He has money for a lawyer, after all." "Yes, he does, but I'm afraid it won't help." Haley lowered her gaze. "Jackie, everyone is against him. There's a motive. There are fingerprints. And a witness too. So, I need to talk to him." Jackie rubbed her temples. "But how? How will you talk to him?" Haley shook her head. "You're nobody to him." "Nobody," Jackie repeated. And Haley was right. Yes, they've known each other for 30 years. Yes, he was always there for her. And she for him. When she got divorced. When Renee was born. Hold on. Haley pondered. "I have a client. It seems her husband works in this whole system. Maybe I can do something. She's coming tomorrow. By the way, I'll talk to her. Will she help?" Jackie asked hopefully. "For a free procedure done by me personally. They might reveal state secrets to me," Haley stated. "And I'll offer her something. She wanted to fix her nose, so I'll ask for a favor in return." "Haley, thank you." Jackie clasped her hands in a prayer gesture. "Oh, stop it." Haley waved her hand. "It's no trouble for me. And I'll try to contact his lawyer. And you think? Do you know anyone from his circle? Maybe you can get more information." "I don't know anyone," Jackie thought. "I've seen his wife like 10 times in my whole life. She didn't want to meet me. Oscar said she's a bit jealous." "Goodness, jealous of me? What nonsense. A plain divorcee with a child. After Azalea's death, you were the closest person to him. Don't forget that," Haley said. "We didn't speak for a year after his wedding." Jackie shrugged. "So he didn't want us to meet. Then it all started again. What does it matter now? Okay, I know 2 of his colleagues, deputy and secretary. I talked to them at his birthday party, but I doubt they know anything. Try to meet them." "Talk," Haley suggested. "It won't hurt. Everything could be important now. Any information." "Jackie, are you absolutely sure it's not him?" 100%. "I'll talk to his colleagues," Jackie calmly replied. "And you, Haley, please find out if I can meet him or at least call him." "Goodness, he's all alone there," Jackie almost cried. "Poor Oscar. He doesn't deserve this. Sitting there in prison, thinking about what's next." "Well, Jackie, I have to run." Haley got up from her chair. "Some matters to settle at work. I'm telling you, my deputy can't handle it. Come work with us." "Jackie, no. As long as I can operate, I'll operate." Jackie smiled. "And then, maybe, well, at least come for Botox then," said Haley. "I'll do it for free if you want." "No, I don't want Botox. Maybe later, when something is resolved with Oscar." "Okay, I'm off." Haley kissed Jackie on the cheek. "I'll close the door myself. I'll keep you posted, friend." When the front door closed behind Haley, Jackie let the tears flow. Lord, what is this? Why did it have to happen to Oscar? He's such a good person. Probably the closest person to her in the world. Except for Renee, of course. Could he really go to prison for his wife's murder? "Mom, sorry. I overheard something." Renee peeked into the kitchen. "Uncle Oscar will go to jail." "Right, don't say that." Jackie sniffled. "He won't. He didn't do it. Maybe the maid killed his wife. Renee sat down on a chair. Could that be? Mom, hold on. Daughter, did you hear something? Or were you eavesdropping under the door? The woman frowned. Well, I put your stethoscope against the wall, Renee admitted. Mom, but I'm worried about Uncle Oscar too. Jackie wanted to scold her daughter but couldn't. Perhaps she would have acted the same in her place. Mom, we need to conduct our own investigation, Renee declared. I saw in the movies that's how they find the real killer, and then they go to the police with evidence. And Uncle Oscar will be released. Oh, honey, easier said than done. Jackie propped her chin on her hands. I'm a doctor, not an investigator. And if they've decided to put Oscar away, there's nothing we can do. Well, someone told me that you have to fight to the end, Renee said. That's in the context of medicine. Until the last breath. The woman argued. Mom, I think in any situation you have to fight to the end. Renee looked thoughtfully out the window. Mom, I know who bought me the phone back then. I guessed right away it wasn't Dad. I just didn't tell you. Jackie was stunned. How did you figure it out? Well, I just did. Renee winked. So, we need to do something. We have to fight, Mom. To the end. 5 years ago, there were only 2 days left until Christmas. Jackie always loved Christmas, especially when she had her daughter Renee. She wanted it to be special for Renee. Presents a decorated Christmas tree. Works through the city adorned with garlands. And this year she bought the biggest, most luxurious Christmas tree. She had a hard time dragging it home. She couldn't count on Max, her ex-husband. He was busy with his own affairs. She bought Renee a gift, a Barbie doll with strange multicolored hair. Jackie planned to take a walk with Renee first, then sit down for a festive meal, and in the morning go skating. That's where she was going to give her second gift to her daughter. Ice skates. Renee had been crazy about figure skating for the past year, so let her learn. Of course, the gifts were expensive. There was hardly any money left. But Jackie believed that her greatest gift as a mother was creating good childhood memories. When Renee grew up, she would remember, in difficult moments, how they skated together, ate ice cream in the park, or just sat on the couch hugging and listening to the sound of rain. Jackie couldn't give Renee a complete family. Let her have at least that. But Max managed to ruin the holiday. It all started a month ago. After the divorce, Max still visited their daughter. He'd come for an hour, chat with Renee, promise her all sorts of things, and then rush off to his new life with his new woman. In November, he came to visit his beloved daughter again, and Jackie accidentally overheard their conversation. Sweetheart, what's this you have? Her father asked Renee. A phone, the girl replied. Mom bought it last year. Oh, it's already got a cracked screen, and it's an old model. The man sighed. Do you want a new phone? I do, Renee said hopefully. But Mom doesn't have any money. But you have me, Max declared. For Christmas, I'll buy you a new phone. The best one, so that everyone at school will be jealous. Jackie almost hit herself in the forehead with her palm. Lord, what was he saying? When had he ever given Renee anything worth more than $100? Child support. Yes, he paid child support, but it was peanuts. Jackie knew for sure he was making good money, but she saw no point in dealing with her ex-husband and demanding more for their daughter. Although she had tried to talk to him about it once. Max, Renee needs school books. I checked how much they cost. It's outrageous. And, by the way, it's time to buy a new jacket, Jackie said. Maybe you could chip in some money. I pay the child support. The man's face wrinkled. What more do you want from me? I know how much you make, the woman replied. And Renee is still your daughter too. Jackie, I pay what I'm supposed to. By the way, Megan is pregnant. She needs vitamins, tests. It all costs money. Jackie didn't want to hear about Megan, Max's new flame. She was the one he left Jackie for. leaving Jackie with 3-year-old Renee. Jackie didn't dwell on the financial topic anymore. Let him live as he wants. She could raise her daughter on her own. But why did he promise her a phone? He has Megan. After all, she's already given birth to a son. Max is always complaining that there's not enough money, that the child is always sick, that Megan isn't breastfeeding him and they have to spend on formula. And suddenly such a generous gift. In the evening, after Renee had gone to bed, Jackie decided to call her ex-husband. "Why did you promise her a phone, huh?" the woman asked. "Can't I promise to buy our daughter a phone?" He challenged. "You can only promise," she said wearily. "Our daughter will wait. And if you don't buy it, then what am I supposed to do?" "I'll buy it," the man grumbled. "We'll get a good Christmas bonus. Renee will have a decent phone, not the junk you bought her. If you, Max, don't buy this damned phone for her, I don't know what I'll do with you." Jackie hoped her ex-husband would keep his word. Renee hadn't forgotten about his promise and asked every day, "Will Dad buy the phone? And if he does, which one? I want an iPhone," she dreamed. Jackie just nodded and smiled. Psychologists say you shouldn't turn a child against their father, even if you're divorced. Otherwise, the girl develops a wrong idea about men and won't be able to trust anyone. And then, 3 days before Christmas, the woman decided to call Max. "Hello," she said calmly. "Do you remember what you promised our daughter?" "What did I promise?" The man was surprised. "I'll remind you. You promised to give her a phone," Jackie said. "She's waiting. She reminds me 10 times a day." "Oh, Jackie, here's the thing. The bonus was half of what I expected. My son got sick. Expensive medicines are needed. And Megan asked for a laptop as a gift. Basically, all the money went to that. So I'm broke. Sorry." "So, what should I do?" "Renee is waiting." "What should I tell her? That Dad spent all the money on his new son?" Well, you're the mother. Figure out what to say." "I'll buy her the phone later, in the spring," the man said. "You jerk," Jackie hissed and hung up. And here she sits in the kitchen, crying, dropping her head on the table. It's good that Renee went for a walk with her grandmother and didn't see her tantrum. Maybe she'll still be able to take out a loan or borrow money from Haley, for example. But it's so awkward for her to ask. The phone rang. Jackie thought it was her ex-husband. Maybe he changed his mind and will now say he'll buy their daughter the phone after all. But it was Oscar. Imagine that. They hadn't spoken for 2 months. He had a lot of work. And there was also a new girl he was in love with. The woman wiped her eyes and picked up the phone. "Hi, Jackie. Sorry for disappearing," Oscar said. "I wanted to ask, what are your plans for Christmas? Maybe you and Renee could come to me for New Year's." "Maybe." Jackie tried to convey calmness in her voice. "We wanted to go skating." "Oh, great. Can I join you?" Oscar asked. "But what about your girlfriend? Won't she object?" Jackie was surprised. "Well, we broke up." The man sighed. "Our characters didn't match, so I'm free." "And how about your ex?" And Jackie couldn't hold back. She burst into tears right into the phone. "Jackie, what's wrong?" Oscar was alarmed. "What has he done now?" "Jackie, don't be silent." "Nothing. Really. He just promised Renee a phone as a gift and then changed his mind." "Oscar, maybe you could lend me some money. I'll pay you back." "What a jerk," the man said quietly. "Jackie, I'll give you money. I'll give you however much you need. Just don't cry. Okay." "Good Lord. How did you even get involved with him?" The woman said goodbye to Oscar and placed the phone on the table in front of her. "You remember him, and he's right there. Amazing. Even on the day Renee was born, Oscar was there. Who would have thought? Yet, she and Max had such love, and he left her all alone back then." Though Jackie was not alone. Thanks to Oscar, Jackie met her now ex-husband immediately after finishing university. During her studies, she had no free time at all. There was no time for dates. Starting to work, Jackie suddenly realized that she had a lot of free time. She could read books, watch movies, even go for walks. She met Max at the birthday party of her former classmate Diana. They gathered in a small one-room apartment, drank wine, and someone brought a guitar. Perhaps it was because of that cursed guitar that it all began. He played wonderfully, and he sang well too. He had a deep, velvety voice, and he was good-looking too. Dark-haired, brown-eyed, with a piercing gaze. Max sang one song after another. He even sang Oscar's favorite song, "You're My Breath." It was time for cake. Jackie and Diana went to the kitchen. Diana closed the door and smiled. "Listen, Max can't take his eyes off you," Diana said. Jackie blushed. "Oh, come on. Where did you get that idea from? He looks at you when he sings. You know, Jackie. And well, you're a single girl here. You're interesting. And everyone else came with partners. So take a closer look, Jackie." That evening, Max escorted Jackie home. "And you're a surgeon, right?" he asked as they left the house. It was almost midnight, and Jackie wanted to be in bed as soon as possible, as she had to get up early tomorrow. Another shift, a surgeon. She nodded. "So what?" "Well, you're a girl." The man winked. "So tender, beautiful. Your hands are as precise as a pianist's. You're a surgeon. Well, that's unexpected. Thanks for the compliment, if it was even a compliment at all." Jackie looked at her hands. Ha, they were just normal. What did he find in them? "Jackie, you're beautiful." He looked at her with a long gaze, which for some reason made Jackie's cheeks flush. "Maybe we should go somewhere." "So fast?" Jackie was embarrassed. "Well, I'm used to acting fast. I like you, and you like me too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have let me work you home." And he smiled. "So I suggest we have a real date. I'll even buy you flowers." Flowers? That's wonderful." Jackie nodded. "Why not? Let's go the day after tomorrow evening, if you're free. Because tomorrow I'm on duty." "Okay, tomorrow I'll think about you, and the day after tomorrow we'll meet." Max gently took her hand. Jackie didn't take her hand away. Their romance developed rapidly. Jackie quickly realized she was in love. Only Haley didn't like him. She thought Max was too much of a show-off. "He's a narcissist," she said after their first meeting. "He only loves himself." "Jackie, why do you think so? He seems normal to me." "Jackie, it's obvious. He only talks about himself. You need someone else." "Haley." "But I like him." Jackie frowned. "Listen, I don't have anyone. You're not happy. Someone appears, and you don't like it again. I'm thinking about you, stupid." Haley shook her head. "Anyway, do as you please, Jackie." By that time, Jackie already had her own apartment. Of course, she didn't get it the way she would have liked. First, her mother died. It turned out that the pain was caused by a tumor, inoperable. Radiation therapy didn't help. It only prolonged the suffering. A year after her mother, Jackie's father passed away, and that year was the scariest one in her life. Her father's already complicated character had worsened terribly. He constantly scolded Jackie, repeated that she would never succeed, and started blaming his wife, who hadn't given him a son. Jackie, balancing her studies and work, had to take care of her father, who turned into a big child. Jackie didn't immediately realize that he was developing senile dementia. It happens to elderly people after severe stress. Only Haley and Oscar helped her. Oscar's mother even hired a caregiver with her own money to stay with Jackie's father when Jackie was at school or work. The girl promised to repay the money, but Azalea refused to hear about it. And then Jackie's father died. She grieved terribly for him, but at the same time felt some relief. She was afraid that things would only get worse for him over time. She knew well how elderly people who had lost their minds behaved. She often saw such cases at work. But her father never lived to the depths of insanity. Maybe it was for the best, so Jackie was left in an empty apartment. Oscar helped with the repairs. They threw out the old furniture, re-glued the wallpaper, and put new tiles in the bathroom. Oscar created a design project for Jackie, chose materials that she could afford. The repair wasn't easy for them. They often quarreled. Jackie would start shouting, even throwing tools at Oscar, and he endured all her bursts of anger, understanding that they were caused by the recent losses she had experienced. Jackie felt terribly ashamed in front of him after such fights. She always apologized and promised that it wouldn't happen again. "Come on, don't worry, it'll happen again," Oscar would sigh. "But I still love you." Since Jackie had her own apartment, Max moved in with her. Before that, he lived with his mother, who worked as a shop assistant, selling cheap clothes. Victoria, Max's mother, was a loud, talkative woman. Communicating with her was difficult for Jackie. Victoria's energy literally suffocated Jackie. Jackie really wanted to marry Max. She was probably in love for the first time in her life. She wasn't even embarrassed by the fact that Max earned much less than she did, that he didn't really like reading, and sometimes there was nothing to talk about with him. But he kissed perfectly. Jackie melted in his arms, forgetting about everything in the world. Wasn't that the most important thing? He seemed perfect to her. He said the right words, made compliments, gave flowers. Jackie had never had anything like this before. She imagined them living together, having children together. She wanted at least two. Finally, Max proposed to Jackie, banally, right on the street, during a work. "Forgive me for not having a ring," he smiled. "I'll buy you the best diamond ring later." In the end, Jackie bought the ring herself, for herself and for Max. He had problems at work. But did that mean anything if she had finally met that someone special, her man? And Jackie would definitely be happy with him. And he kissed much better than Oscar. They had a modest wedding. To Jackie's surprise, Victoria cried loudly and, raising a toast, said that her son didn't deserve such a girl. Jackie was surprised. Usually, mothers-in-law think that their favorite boy could have chosen someone better. Well, apparently, Victoria was an exception to that rule. Family life began. However, Jackie expected more. Max seemed to relax, stopped giving her flowers and sweet gifts. Jackie paid for food and utilities. Max said that his company was having problems right now. They needed to endure a little. Jackie endured and believed that sooner or later, things would work out for her husband. Haley didn't like this situation at all. "He's using you," her friend grumbled. "And what's next? Will you support him even after you have children?" Haley. "But everyone goes through difficulties. If people are together, they should support each other. It's normal," argued Jackie. "Isn't that what marriage is for?" "Marriage, Jackie, exists for mutual benefit and legal guarantees," Haley objected. "And what about you? Max just found a convenient woman. That's you. You'll do everything for him. You even disappear at work. Ideal conditions. He found himself a second mother." Jackie didn't listen to Haley. Maybe she was just envious. Haley's personal life wasn't going well. All her energy was taken up by her business and her cosmetic center. She rarely spoke to Oscar either. He worked at an architectural firm, considered one of the most talented young employees, and was aiming for a leadership position. Work took up almost all of his free time. Jackie understood this and preferred not to bother him. Everything changed when she realized she was pregnant. Max reacted negatively to this news. "Jackie, this is too soon," he said when she showed him the test with 2 lines. "You should have thought about it a bit." "About what?" Jackie was surprised. "This is my first pregnancy. I'm definitely not going to terminate it. I know what it can lead to. And why not? We're young. We have money, whatever you want. But it's your choice," the man replied mysteriously. No, he wasn't insisting on an abortion. But he didn't behave like a future young father dreaming of an addition to the family. He became cold and distant. Max repeated that they didn't have enough money, so find another job. Jackie burst out one day. To get paid more. You're already spending your own money only on yourself. Max, find one yourself. He shouted back. I like mine. You wanted a baby, so now you deal with this problem yourself. I thought we would do this in 5 or 6 years. Jackie decided that she wouldn't argue with her husband anymore. Maybe it was a shock to him. Once the baby was born, Max would see him, pick him up, and everything would change. The person most excited about Jackie's pregnancy was Victoria. It even seemed to her that the birth of a grandchild was Victoria's only goal. Her mother-in-law brought Jackie fruits, bought vitamins and clothes for the future baby. Even for the ultrasound, Jackie went with Victoria, not Max. He never had time for it. When they found out the gender of the future child, Victoria burst into tears. How good that it's a girl. Why? Jackie asked. The main thing is for the baby to be healthy. Oh, you don't understand. Victoria waved her hand. There's so much trouble with boys. Max is my fool. Do you think I don't understand? As he grew up, he only thought about girls and played his guitar all day long. You can't imagine how hard I fought with him to finish college. Oh, I'm telling you this in vain. Even though I lucked out with you, I never thought he'd have such a good wife. But don't worry, Jackie. You'll give birth, and he'll come to his senses. When Jackie was 5 months pregnant, Oscar's mother fell ill. He called her one evening and asked, Jackie, hi, is pancreonecrosis serious? In general, yes. Jackie clenched her fists. Pancreonecrosis is very serious. Could it be Oscar? No, it couldn't be. He doesn't drink. It's not a diagnosis. It's practically a death sentence. Well, in general, my mom got the diagnosis. Oscar said with a trembling voice. Maybe you can tell me what to do. I don't understand anything at all. Everything was fine yesterday. She went to a restaurant with her friend, and at night, the ambulance took her away. Jackie looked thoughtfully out the window. Lord, she had told Asalia 100 times that she needed to follow a diet and take pills. No alcohol and no fried food. Oscar, please calm down. I'll find out everything now and call you back. She immediately called her former classmate Stuart. He worked in surgery, just like her. The news was bleak. They don't even have anything to operate on. It seems, he said. You know yourself what that means. The clock is ticking. If not days, then weeks. Stuart, maybe something needs to be done. Have you tried Richter? This woman is the mother of my best friend. I need to help. And what will Richter say? Stuart sighed. This is a textbook case here. She ate something fried, and she's had pancreatitis all her life. I'm telling you honestly, the woman doesn't stand a chance. No one will take her for surgery, and if they do, she'll die right on the operating table. Jackie slowly put the phone on the table. How to tell her friend Oscar about this? After all, he adores his mother, and Jackie herself always loved Asalia. Lord, why is everything falling on her all at once? Strange behavior from Max, her pregnancy, and now this. Jackie called everyone she could. None of her acquaintances could give Jackie any hope. They all said the same thing. Most likely, Asalia wouldn't make it. Jackie understood this herself, but she still hoped for a miracle. What if they came up with some experimental drug, or if there was a doctor who could perform such an operation without chickening out? There is one drug, Professor Richter said thoughtfully. Jackie, you must understand that it won't save her, but it may prolong her life. If you want, I'll call my acquaintance right away. He'll send it over. Remember, the drug is experimental, but at this point, you have nothing to lose. Oh, that would be wonderful. Jackie smiled. You know, I still believe in miracles. Sometimes even the most hopeless patients are pulled through. Jackie, you're still too young. Richter sighed. Miracles in medicine have a limited scope. But you must understand, this medication is very expensive, the professor said, and the money will be there. The woman promised. Professor Richter called her back half an hour later. Jackie was lucky. The drug could be delivered to their city tomorrow. Richter also provided the account details for transferring the money. Excited, Jackie transferred the funds to the specified account. Yes, it was practically all her savings. She didn't even think to ask Oscar for money. Her thoughts raced. She needed to prepare Oscar for what might happen. And she also had to visit Asalia, probably for the last time. Should she tell him about the medicine that might prolong his mother's life? He was far from medicine. And what if he thought the drug would save his mother, only to face bitter disappointment later? It's the eternal dilemma of any doctor. What's better, to lie or to tell the bitter truth? Jackie still couldn't answer that question for herself. The next day, she got up early to pick up the medicine. She grabbed the bag with 3 vials, thanked the man who delivered them, and went to a cafe. She needed to eat something, or her glucose levels would drop again, and she would harm her daughter. The little one wasn't to blame for her mother's recent troubles. At the cafe, Jackie ordered tea with sugar and a pastry. She didn't have much of an appetite, but she understood she needed to eat to provide nutrients for her baby and ensure she gained weight. Jackie felt sad. Why did Max act like she became a stranger to him as soon as she got pregnant? He used to say he wanted children too. And now he even started to complain to Jackie that she gained weight. Jackie wondered, what if men carried children? They'd probably compete with each other to see who gained more weight during pregnancy. And women are supposed to watch their figures, give their husbands an heir, and still please the eye. Screw that. Maybe she should kick him out and raise her daughter alone. No, the child needed a father. Maybe Victoria was right, and Max would change when he saw his daughter. How could you not love your own child with all your heart? It's part of you, and there's no one closer. No, absolutely not. No divorce. Jackie had to be wise and strong. Despite the early hour, she called her friend. Apparently, he wasn't sleeping, and answered immediately after the first ring. Oscar, hey, how's your mom? They delivered the medicine to me. But please, don't expect a miracle, she said. The man paused. Jackie, I'm not a child. I understand everything, he replied sadly. You were digging around online, weren't you? She sighed. I told you not to do that. There's only nonsense there. The doctor told me the truth right away, Oscar said sadly. What kind of medicine is it? To be honest, it's experimental. But there's a chance to extend Asalia's life. Jackie felt a burning sensation in her eyes. She just didn't want to cry. Why was everything so hard? She had to be there for Oscar. He was there when Jackie's parents died. He held her hand when they buried her mother first, and then her father. And then, when her father was gone, he stayed with her for several weeks because Jackie couldn't sleep alone in the empty apartment. She would repay Oscar this debt, no matter how hard it would be. Oscar, I'll come to your office around 9. Jackie promised. You're the boss now. I'll leave a note for the secretary. I'll meet you, Oscar said. We'll go see her together. You want to see her, right? A tear rolled down Jackie's cheek. Yes. Okay, I'll be there by 9. She sniffed into the receiver. How are you? I'm scared, he replied quietly. Oscar, I'm with you, Jackie whispered. She managed to get home. Max was sleeping, and she decided not to wake him up. Even if she told him about Asalia, nothing would change. He would say she was wasting her time caring about someone else's woman. And Max didn't approve of her spending time with Oscar at all. Jackie wanted to believe it was jealousy. Where there's jealousy, there's love. But she understood with her mind that in Max's case, it was possessive instinct and nothing more. Jackie arrived at Oscar's office. He wasn't there yet, stuck in traffic. The secretary, a young girl who looked about 20, ushered her into a chair and made her some tea. You're Jackie, right? She smiled. How do you know? Did Oscar warn you? Jackie asked. Aha. The girl nodded. Oscar talked about you. Says you're a real surgeon. Yeah, a real one. Jackie smiled. And what does he say about me? Just so you don't think we're, like that. I have a fiancé. The secretary blushed. Oscar's a good boss. I'm lucky. By the way, my name's Vanessa. Well, very nice to meet you. Jackie took a sip of tea. And thank you very much, Vanessa. Oscar arrived 15 minutes later, excited, disheveled, with 3 days of stubble on his cheeks. Let's go. Oscar hugged Jackie. Sorry for bothering you, Oscar. Are you out of your mind? Jackie was surprised. You know how I feel about your mom. Come on. Let's go. He pulled her along. Vanessa, remember what to do. I remember. She nodded. Everything will be fine. In Oscar's car, Jackie settled into the front seat, placing the bag of medicine on her lap. New? The woman asked. Yeah, he nodded. Bought it a month ago. How about you? Sorry I disappeared. Had a lot of work. How's the daughter? She's fine. Growing. Jackie caressed her stomach. 4 months left, and this one. Husband. Oscar slightly grimaced. And Jackie didn't miss it. She hadn't even told Oscar about her problems. Why did he have such an attitude towards Max? My husband is working. She replied shortly. What about you? Any personal news? Nothing much. Just broke up with one recently. She thought I should buy her an apartment. Oh, she was beautiful. So why didn't you buy her an apartment if she was beautiful? Jackie smirked. What, Jackie? After a month of dating, Oscar glanced at his friend. At least 6 months should pass. The woman laughed. Oscar still had a sense of humor, and that was good. Your secretary is cute, Jackie said. Vanessa? Yeah, she's nice, Oscar replied. If you're asking if I'm sleeping with her, no, I'm not, Jackie, and I don't plan to. I actually found her by accident. I was heading home from work, saw some jerks hassling this girl. I stepped in, sorted it out, and she was crying. Long story short, I walked her home and got her number. Right. Jackie continued for him. No, she told me she has a sick brother. No job. So, I offered her a job. And Vanessa agreed. Imagine that. Turns out, she's responsible. Her brother has some sort of condition, maybe cerebral palsy or something. And she's holding on to this job for him. She picked up fast. I'm thinking of sending her to courses later. She's a good girl. Oh, you're a benefactor. Jackie laughed. What? She's getting married in a month. Oscar grinned. Doctor, are you jealous or something? Not even in my thoughts. Jackie replied. A scene popped into her head for some reason. The two of them on a bench. He leans in to kiss her lips. She needed to sleep when she got home. All sorts of nonsense was coming to mind. Or was it the hormones acting up because of the pregnancy? At the hospital, Jackie handed the medication to the attending physician. Jackie and Oscar entered the room. Azalea had lost weight. Her skin had a yellowish unhealthy hue. Seeing them, she brightened up. She even tried to sit up but couldn't. She had almost no strength. They talked a bit. Azalea asked about Jackie's pregnancy, even touched her belly for luck. Jackie was amazed. They talked about silly things. About Oscar's new project. What Jackie would name her daughter. The renovation Oscar planned for the recently bought house. It always seemed like the last meeting with someone should be profound. They should say something deep that would change your whole life. But they talked about mundane matters. Always like that. They all lie in those movies and books. As they said goodbye, Azalea asked Oscar to stay a little longer. Jackie went out into the corridor, sat on a bench, placing both hands on her belly. Medicine was a strange thing. Nowhere else were life and death so intertwined. Azalea was dying, but Jackie's daughter was about to be born. As if one life would replace the other. Finally, Oscar came out of the room. Mom's tired. Wants to sleep, he said. What did she want? Jackie asked, leaning on Oscar's arm. Oh, just small stuff. Oscar looked away. Jackie understood. Asalia had said her goodbyes to her son. Oscar, let's go, the woman said. Will you feed me? My daughter wants to eat. That day, she saw Asalia alive for the last time. She passed away 2 days later. Days passed. The family harmony between Jackie and Max was fading. He started disappearing at work, although he wasn't bringing in any money. He would say that they were on the verge of landing big contracts, and that's when they wouldn't have to worry about expenses anymore. Victoria helped as much as she could. She bought things for the baby, even brought a stroller she had taken from a friend who had recently become a grandmother. But even that didn't sit well with Max. Why is Mom bringing this old stuff? We need something new, he grumbled. We didn't turn enough for new stuff, Jackie replied. And, by the way, it's a good stroller. I couldn't afford one like that. The day before giving birth, they had a fight. Jackie didn't even remember what it was about. It seemed like she asked when Max would start contributing to the family budget, and why all the expenses for the baby were falling on Jackie and Max's mother, Victoria. He shouted that Jackie was just like all women, that all she wanted from him was money, and then Max left, slamming the door, telling his wife not to expect him back anytime soon. He needed to think. He would be spending the upcoming Christmas without her. At that moment, Jackie suddenly realized that she was starting to hate the holiday. An hour after he left, Jackie felt the contractions starting. She sat on the kitchen floor with a clock in her hands, counting the time, and then she realized the contractions weren't just practice ones. She was about to give birth, and she would give birth several days before the expected due date. Stress must have taken its toll. Jackie called Max, but her husband didn't pick up the phone. The woman already knew where she would give birth. She had arranged everything with the doctor, chosen the department, the best maternity hospital, excellent doctors. But that maternity hospital was on the other side of town. Jackie dialed the ambulance number. Get there yourself, the tired dispatcher woman said sadly. I'll send a team, of course, but they won't make it. Traffic jams and a snowstorm. And then Jackie was truly scared. What to do? Give birth right in her own kitchen. She looked out the window. The blizzard was so thick that you couldn't see anything even 5 meters away. Jackie groaned in pain at another contraction. So what to do? Her friend Haley had gone to the islands with her new boyfriend. She was supposed to return only in 3 days, just in time for the birth, or to a ready-made baby. Well, or to a dead friend. Jackie imagined herself lying on the kitchen floor, staring at the ceiling and bleeding out. Victoria. She had gone to her sister in another city. So, was Jackie completely alone? Only a taxi remained. She opened the app. Wow, those prices. But no wonder, everyone was going to visit. Everyone had a family celebration. Everyone had someone who loved and waited for them. And Jackie was completely alone. She was about to give birth to her daughter right on her own kitchen floor in solitude. And she would even have to cut the umbilical cord with a kitchen knife. Yes, what a great start to her daughter's life. Oscar. And why did this life-saving thought come to her so late? With trembling hands, she dialed his number. Jackie. Hey, I was just about to call you, the man exclaimed joyfully. Really? She whimpered. Just a second. What's wrong with your voice? Jackie. Are you okay? Not entirely, Oscar. I have a problem, and I don't know what to do. What happened next? She remembered vaguely. She paced around the kitchen and groaned with each contraction. Then, it seemed, Oscar arrived, grabbed her bag, already prepared for the maternity hospital, and dragged his friend into his car. Jackie felt darkness closing in from the pain. Why hadn't anyone told her it would hurt this much? Or that things might not go as planned? Oscar carried her to the maternity ward in his arms. She remembered his pale, frightened face, mumbling something about everything being okay. Jackie couldn't recall how she ended up in the delivery room. She no longer understood anything. It felt like her body was being torn apart, and she feared she might die. All she cared about was that her daughter would be okay. She seemed to demand that they save Renee, not her. And the doctor just scolded her in response. "We'll save them both, colleague. Don't panic. Don't scare the father. He's already in shock." And Jackie allowed herself to scream. She simply couldn't endure this pain silently. She lost consciousness a couple of times, and then everything abruptly ended. What was the crying? What was it? Her daughter. Her Renee. They placed Renee on Jackie's stomach. She touched her with her fingers, unable to believe this was her child. "Jackie, you're a heroine," Oscar whispered in her ear. I didn't think it would be like this." "Thank you," Jackie whispered back. She still not fully understanding what was happening. Was she a mother now? For real? Then Jackie slept for a long time in the ward. Renee was with her, dozing nearby. Jackie would wake up and look at her. What a funny little nose and eyes she had. Observing her daughter, Jackie would drift back into troubled sleep. In the morning, the doctor told her there had been complications. Narrow pelvis, large baby. Renee was almost a kilogram heavier than expected. "We should have gone for a C-section. But what can we do?" The doctor explained. "Your partner did great. I've always been in favor of partner births. Usually, it's the men who get scared. But yours stood his ground. He even passed out a couple of times." "He's not my partner," Jackie objected. "He's a childhood friend." The doctor looked at her strangely. "Really?" "Well, he was pretty nervous." Then Oscar came to her. Jackie was feeling fine by then, surprisingly bouncing back quickly after a difficult birth. Oscar brought her oranges and chocolate. "How did you end up there?" she asked. "I didn't expect it. They asked me right away if we were having a partner birth. Told me to change into scrubs and go, so I changed and went." "And you went?" Jackie chuckled. "You could have just said you were dropping me off." "Jackie, I was afraid to leave you," Oscar said, taking her hand. "But they taught me how to massage your back. It seemed to help you." "Oh my God. Oscar, did you spend Christmas there?" Jackie was alarmed. "Well, yes," he nodded. "You know, this Christmas I'll definitely never forget." "Thank you. But you shouldn't have. You're squeamish about all those physiological details." "It's okay. It'll come in handy for the future. I want kids too. I'll be there with my wife when she gives birth. Now I know what to do." Suddenly Jackie felt sad. Why? Because he would someday have a woman he truly loved, who would give birth to his child and sleep in his arms. And Jackie. Max called, but he never came to her. He said he had a lot of work. "Jackie, I was so worried about you." Oscar hugged her, and she rested her head on his shoulder. He smelled of expensive cologne. Jackie closed her eyes to hold back the tears. He looked so handsome, so respectable, in his crisp white shirt and pressed trousers. And she looked like a scarecrow in a horrible hospital gown. Max drove Jackie home. Victoria wouldn't let go of her granddaughter, admiring her like a work of art, saying she'd never seen such a beautiful girl in her life. Max kissed his wife on the cheek and looked at her as if Jackie had done something terribly wrong. For Jackie, a new life began. Her husband grew more distant, disappearing at work or not at work. Jackie didn't know, but she felt that Max had found someone else. It didn't scare her. What scared her was that she didn't care. Finally, Max started bringing in some money to the house. Maternity benefits weren't enough. Then, Victoria began to help out. She stayed with Renee, bought diapers and formula. Jackie didn't have milk. Renee was a restless baby, sleeping only when held. Jackie could only get a little rest when Victoria came. Max didn't take care of their daughter, saying it was women's work, and his job was to bring home the money. But Max wasn't doing well in that department. When Renee turned 6 months old, Jackie decided to talk to her mother-in-law. "Victoria, if Max and I get divorced, can I count on you?" Jackie asked. The woman looked sadly at Jackie. He's a fool. My mistake. You know, I gave birth for myself. I spoiled him, indulged him in everything. And I was wrong, Jackie. I realized it too late. Forgive me. Do you think I don't understand? I understand everything. Both women fell silent for a moment. Then Victoria continued, you can count on my help. I won't abandon you and Renee for anything. But maybe try talk to him. And I'll talk to my son. Jackie didn't bother talking to Max. She didn't see the point anymore. But Victoria did say something to him. Because the next day, before leaving for work, Max angrily said, so you complained to my mother? Ha! I'm a bad guy. Ha! Well, go ahead. Find another man if I'm so bad. In Jackie's heart, there was emptiness for some reason. And where did all the tears go? Were they really gone? One day, Victoria fell ill. Renee turned 8 months old, and she still demanded all of Jackie's attention. Victoria lay at home with a fever, and Jackie felt like she was losing her mind. She couldn't even take a shower. Max had no intention of helping his wife. He left for work early in the morning, returned past midnight, and went straight to bed. They slept separately now. Max on the living room couch, Jackie in the bedroom. The baby disrupted his sleep. On the third day, Jackie realized she was on the verge of a breakdown. She walked around the apartment with her daughter in her arms. Renee cried incessantly. Jackie cried too and couldn't calm down. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Wiping away her tears with the edge of her shirt. She wasn't expecting anyone. It was Oscar at the door. He looked at his friend strangely. What's wrong with you? He asked instead of a greeting. Nothing, she muttered. Just tired. And where's Victoria? She's sick. Has a high fever. Some virus. Jackie hugged her daughter close. You know, I feel like I failed, Oscar. And Jackie burst into tears. Sensing her mother's state, Renee began to cry too. Perplexed, Oscar looked at the scene for a couple of seconds. Then he gently took Renee by the hand. She fell silent, seemingly surprised, and stared at Oscar with her round dark eyes. Jackie, this isn't right. Oscar began rocking Renee. Maybe you should hire a nanny. Oscar, you don't understand. The woman sobbed. Everyone else manages, but not me. Max says all his friends' wives raise their children calmly without asking for help. And here I am, without Victoria. And I just can't do it anymore. It's true. I'd rather perform surgeries for a week straight than deal with this. I can't take it anymore. I can't. Hey, Oscar said. Jackie, start packing your things. Where to? She asked. To the madhouse. We'll make a pit stop on our way there, sighed the man. If you want, of course. I have a week off. Gather everything you and Renee need. We're going on vacation. But what will Max say? Jackie was afraid. Do you really care? Oscar stroked Jackie's head. Listen, friend. You need to rest. Change your surroundings. Have you even seen yourself? And what about it? She glanced at herself in the mirror. Well, she didn't look great. Pale, with dark circles under her eyes. Hair disheveled like a witch's. Come on, I'll sit with Renee for now. You get ready. So quickly. Jackie looked skeptically at her friend. Why wait? He said. Jackie, I won't leave you in this state. You're still my friend, my close person. She called Max, saying she was going on vacation with a friend. She didn't want to mention that she would be staying with Oscar. Max loved to act jealous, not because he actually felt jealous of his wife, but because it was expected. Jackie quickly grabbed her things and approached Oscar. The man loaded everything into the car. We'll stay for 5 days, he said. The cottage is nice. Enough space for all of us. Wait, what about your girlfriend? Jackie asked, feeling worried. I'm currently without a girlfriend. Oscar shook his head. I'm too busy now as the deputy director. Oscar, thank you, dear. Jackie thanked him. If anything, I'll pay you back, Jackie. Are you crazy? The man laughed. Oh, honest to God, you've always been a bit off since childhood. Take a look at yourself. She chuckled. They drove to the countryside and arrived at a small wooden house surrounded by pine trees. Jackie suddenly realized she had grown unaccustomed to large spaces. Most of the time, she spent at home or strolled around the neighborhood with the stroller. Here, there was the smell of the river and pines, the wind. The woman even felt a bit dizzy. How wonderful, said Jackie. Renee, look, these are pine trees. The little girl looked at the pines in amazement, seemingly reaching up to the sky. Even her mouth opened in awe. Jackie laughed and kissed her daughter. Oh, to live like this always. She would if she were with Oscar. But, alas, that was impossible. He was her friend. Best friend since childhood. Come on. It's chilly here. And you're in a t-shirt. Oscar grumbled. Change into something warmer and take a shower. Everything should be there. Am I dirty? Jackie asked. Well, just go take a shower. Freshen up. Oscar said. I'll stay with Renee. Don't worry. Jackie gave Oscar a brief lecture on how to prepare the formula. She knew Oscar would do everything right, and she wasn't afraid to leave Renee with him. He treated her tenderly. After all, he was there at the moment of her daughter's birth. He was the second person to hold Renee. Perhaps Oscar would be a good father to her, unlike Max. Jackie spent almost an hour in the shower. She just didn't want to get out. She had the time, and the time belonged only to her. She slowly lathered her hair with fragrant shampoo, then applied a hair mask. It seemed that since Renee came into the world, Jackie hadn't taken care of herself. Then Jackie just sat on the shower floor under the water, hugging her knees. She didn't think about anything, just felt the water running over her skin, and how pleasant the hair mask smelled. How gradually the accumulated inhuman fatigue and resentment were washed away. There was a hairdryer in the bathroom. Jackie dried her hair in front of the mirror. Horrible. How long they had grown. Almost to the middle of her back. The woman suddenly noticed a few gray hairs. So soon, Jackie put on a long white t-shirt and shorts. She left her hair down. Oscar was lying on the couch in the room, his hands under his head. Next to him was a crib where Renee was napping. Well, what service? Jackie laughed. They gave you a crib? Yeah. I asked for one for her. Oscar replied. Oscar looked at Jackie and raised an eyebrow. Well, you're just a mermaid, he remarked. Yeah. There's no time to even get a haircut. Jackie flopped down next to him. Everyone says being a surgeon is a tough job. But no, being a mom is 3 times harder. Oscar, it would be easier if your husband were normal, he said. Listen, I don't want to talk about that. Jackie lay on her back next to Oscar and stared at the ceiling. How peaceful it was here. And Renee was sleeping. Jackie enjoyed the silence. If only this moment could last forever. Her daughter nearby. Oscar too. Get a divorce, Oscar said quietly. Jackie, you can't go on like this. Listen, rich boy, don't give me advice. She glanced at him and stuck out her tongue. It's easy for you to say. How do I live alone? Formula costs a lot of money, Oscar. My mother-in-law helps, of course, but you can't put everything on her shoulders. And I won't be able to go back to work for another year. She turned onto her stomach and propped her chin with her fists. Oscar looked at her with a mocking yet sympathetic gaze. Suddenly, he traced his fingertips along her cheek. Jackie jumped in surprise. What are you doing? She asked. Nothing, he said softly. I feel sorry for you. I'll give you the most expensive champagne for our divorce. We will celebrate. Jackie sighed and embraced him. Oscar's chin nestled into her hair. They lay like that for a long time. He stroked her back. She just froze and savored the moment. Looking at the sleeping Renee, Oscar lifted her chin with his fingertips and kissed her. Jackie didn't immediately understand what was happening. And when she did, she didn't resist. His hand slid under her t-shirt, and she nervously drew in a breath. It was pleasant. Very pleasant. Odd. She used to love Max, but she didn't feel anything like this when he touched her body. And Jackie realized what would happen next. And the last thing she wanted in the world was for Oscar to stop. But Jackie found the strength to pull away. "What? It's been a while since you've had a girl?" she asked hoarsely. "Jackie, what?" He furrowed his brow. "What do you mean?" "Well, you have a lot of work and no time for a personal life." She moved away from him and sat up, wrapping her arms around her knees. "You didn't bring me here for this, did you?" "No, I just couldn't resist," Oscar replied guiltily. "Well, resist next time." She shook her head. "Oscar, you mean a lot to me, and I don't want to ruin anything. But this, well, we could, why not? But I don't want to, you know. I don't believe this can be just friendship." "I understand." Oscar closed his eyes for a moment. A wrinkle appeared on his forehead, and then smoothed out immediately. A carefree smile returned to his face. "Jackie, you're just a beautiful woman." "Instincts," he said. "Keep your instincts to yourself. There's a child here. By the way, what does she understand?" Oscar glanced at Renee. "She doesn't even know where her nose is yet." "Oscar." Jackie grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. "If I knew, I would never have come with you for anything." Okay. He reached out. "Jackie, shall we watch a movie or something?" The following week became one of the best in Jackie's life. Oscar didn't attempt to kiss her again. On one hand, it slightly annoyed her because she really liked that kiss. On the other hand, it was reassuring. She was terribly afraid of what could have happened between them. Yes, she realized that she wanted to be the only one for him, at least in some sense. The only childhood friend, not just another woman he would spend time with until he found another. No, that would surely break her heart. And life with Max convinced her that it was better to be alone. She had Renee, and Jackie didn't need anyone else. They worked in the forest, played table tennis, and in the evenings, when Renee fell asleep, they watched old movies and cartoons, the ones from their shared childhood. They reminisced about their parents, school friends, university. But happiness for Jackie was bitter. She understood that soon she would have to return to her real life, where Max was, who seemed to hate his wife for something, where one day was just like another, and it seemed like it would never change. Jackie wanted to remember every moment, and tried not to think that perhaps if she and Oscar were in different circumstances, this would be her real life. It was especially painful to see how Oscar dealt with her Renee. Max never did that, as if he didn't need a daughter at all. Perhaps that's how it was. Jackie returned home full of strength and determination to divorce. Although they didn't divorce until Renee turned 3, Max dragged it out, and then just left for another woman, packing his things. Jackie suspected he was just looking for a woman with an apartment. Victoria remained on Jackie's side and helped her in every way she could. The woman adored her granddaughter, and Renee reciprocated the affection. Time passed. Renee grew up under her grandmother's careful watch. Jackie worked a lot. Max occasionally visited their daughter and even paid minimal child support. Sometimes men appeared in Jackie's life, but it never went beyond 2 or 3 dates. She was afraid to trust, afraid to get attached to someone and have it all fall apart again. And now this story with the phone. It was fortunate that Oscar was there. He often offered Jackie help, but she always refused. It felt awkward. He already spoiled Renee with expensive gifts for every holiday. It only spoiled the child. Jackie couldn't afford such toys that Oscar bought, and he seemed not to understand that. Foolish man. The next morning, handing her daughter over to her grandmother, Jackie went to work. There were only 2 surgeries scheduled for the morning. She was sitting in the office filling out medical histories when the phone rang. It was Oscar. Jackie rubbed her nose and answered the call. "I'm here. Where should I go?" he asked. "Come in, please, to the inner courtyard," Jackie replied. I'll be out in 5 minutes. She set aside the medical histories and headed for the stairs. Oscar stood in his expensive coat, all alone. Jackie thought he looked extremely out of place against the backdrop of these shabby benches and grey hospital walls. But she felt at home here. Hey. Oscar smiled and spread his arms for a hug. Jackie embraced him and quickly pulled away. I'm sorry for this silliness. It's just that Max promised our daughter a phone, and she'll cry if he doesn't follow through. I don't want to ruin her Christmas and birthday. What are you talking about? He handed her a bag. Here, Jackie. Take it. Surprised, she opened the bag and saw 3 boxes inside. 2 large identical ones and 1 small. There was an apple-shaped logo on the boxes. Oscar, are you out of your mind? Jackie exclaimed. I don't know how much this costs. It's probably my salary for 3 or 4 months. I can't take this, Oscar. You can. He raised his eyebrows in surprise. I have money. Make the child happy. But I have only 1 child. If my memory serves me correctly. Jackie frowned. And there are 2 phones. The second one is for you. And here are headphones for Renee. Oscar said sheepishly. We're not strangers to each other. Come on, Jackie. Can't I spoil you 2 at least once a year? I can't. She handed him the bag back. He hid his hands behind his back. Jackie felt foolish. You can take it. And you will. Oscar insisted. Jackie, stop being so stubborn. I know you're a strong, independent woman and all that. But it's not that expensive for me. Understand? Oh, forget it. Jackie burst into tears. Tears started flowing down her cheeks. Oh God, what is this? Why is Max behaving like a child and not thinking about the consequences? Why does Jackie have to deal with all of this on her own? What's wrong with you? Oscar hugged her and held her close. Jackie buried her nose in his coat. Nothing. She mumbled. Just got something in my eye. Oh, you. He sighed. Jackie, seriously, I'll do anything for you guys. You know that. I have no one but you. She lifted her face and looked into his eyes. He wasn't laughing. On the contrary, he looked extremely serious. Thank you, Oscar. I just didn't expect this. And it's too much for us. And also, she didn't finish her sentence. He didn't let her. Somehow, she didn't understand how it happened. But he touched her lips with his. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Oh my God. It's so cold. He stepped back and unbuttoned his coat. Here, take it. The coat was now on her shoulders. He hugged her again and kissed her on the forehead. Listen, I've been thinking. He said, oh God, what am I doing? She chuckled foolishly. I have to work, Jackie. He shook his head. What kind of person are you? Take it. She pulled off the coat and handed it back to him. I'm going. Thank you, Oscar. If I can, I'll return it. Bye. The woman held the package close to her chest and hurried to the entrance. But what was wrong with her? Was she really that starved for male attention? But he was so warm, reliable, his own. Yet, she and Oscar were just friends. And friends kissing was not recommended. Jackie returned to the ward. She made herself some tea. Jackie, who's that? Rose, the senior nurse, popped into the office. Quite an interesting man. Yours? No, not mine. Jackie wrinkled her nose. I saw it all. Rose settled into a chair. Come on. Why are you so shy? He's a childhood friend, Jackie said. He brought a gift for my daughter. This one. Rose nodded at the package with the logo. Quite a gift. Jackie, tell me everything. Is it serious between you two? Jackie suddenly felt like crying. No, Rose, I'm telling you, he's just a friend. He has a fiancée. I think. Jackie opened another medical history. Sorry, I have to work. She put the phone under the Christmas tree for her daughter. She told her it was from her dad. She felt a little ashamed in front of Oscar, but let her daughter think she had a great father. They say it's good for a child's psyche. Present day, Jackie was woken up by a phone call in the morning. Jackie, I arranged it. You'll be allowed to see Oscar. Not for long, though. About 20 minutes. Talk to him. Maybe he has some thoughts. It was Haley. When and where? Jackie sat up in bed. Be at the prison by 10. A man named Adam will come out. They've been briefed about you. He'll take you where you need to go, said Haley. And think about what to ask. I think Oscar is doing very poorly there. Not used to this. Jackie glanced at the clock. Almost 8. Thanks, Haley. I owe you, she said sincerely. Oh, it's nothing. I'll just spend some time fixing a couple of faces for free. That's all. Haley laughed. That's the perk of my profession. Lots of connections, and everyone wants me. In a way, yeah, I got it. Jackie smiled. But still, thank you. She woke up Renee. Told her she was going to see Oscar in prison. Can I come with you? Renee asked. No, dear, you'll stay home. Jackie replied. Will Grandma come? We wanted to decorate the Christmas tree. Jackie felt ashamed in front of her daughter. She was unlucky to be born to a surgeon mother, who always seemed to be short on time. Dear, she'll come, she promised. I just don't know what time. Renee nodded. Jackie stroked her sleepy daughter's head. It's amazing how much mutual love they had with Victoria. What do they say? A special bond. Or maybe it's because Renee is so much like Max. Jackie quickly showered, had a couple of cups of coffee, and headed to the prison. She felt like her nerves were literally shaking. She hoped she wouldn't burst into tears in front of him. He needed support, not her tears. But it's okay. Jackie will handle it. For some reason, the detention center was located in the city center. She stood at the door and prepared to wait. It was uncomfortable. The walls seemed to be about 5 meters high, and there was barbed wire on top. Next to the entrance were gates for cars, presumably used to bring in prisoners. They probably brought Oscar through them not too long ago. What was he feeling at that moment? He was used to a different life, to expensive clothes, to comfort, to being respected and valued. Jackie realized she was close to tears, but she had to hold it together. Right now, he had no one else to rely on. Just her. Jackie. Someone touched her shoulder. She turned around and saw a young guy in uniform, about 20 years old. What was he doing here? Yes, it's me. Jackie nodded. I'm Adam. The guy introduced himself. I was told to escort you. Let's go. They're already waiting for us. They walked through endless doors, each of which was opened with a huge metal key. What scared Jackie the most was the sound these doors made when they closed. Doors, corridors, more doors, stairs. Jackie began to feel like she was being led into a labyrinth with no way out. And the smell. It didn't smell like this anywhere else. Stale, unpleasant odor, bad food, unwashed bodies, and human misery. Finally, Adam led her to a room with a sign that said visiting room. Jackie realized they were probably in the local infirmary. Come on, Adam said. I'll wait for you here. You have half an hour, just like that. Jackie was surprised. She imagined that she and Oscar would talk on the phone, separated by thick glass, like they show in movies. Yes, just like that. Adam smiled. Go on. Don't waste time. Your husband is already waiting. Jackie wanted to say that he wasn't her husband, but she changed her mind. Let it be like that. Maybe it will give them more time. She opened the door and entered the visiting room. Oscar was sitting on a bench, thinner, with stubble on his cheeks. He looked up at Jackie. I don't know how you managed this, but I'm amazed. Haley helped me, Jackie said hesitantly, sitting down next to him. Haley is amazing. He lowered his head. Jackie, what am I facing? About 15 years, right? Yes, that's what they say. She decided not to lie. But you have a good lawyer, and maybe they'll give me 10. He smirked grimly. Jackie, do you believe me, that I'm innocent? Of course, I believe you. She gently touched his hand. I know you're even afraid of the sight of blood. Oscar, tell me what happened. Maybe we can find something to hold on to. There's nothing to hold on to unless the killer comes forward with a confession. He shrugged. I understand Miles decided to drown me. And who is this Miles? Jackie was surprised. The owner of Tokyo Group. Our direct competitors. No, he didn't kill. But he might have paid someone so that they would put me away. And maybe he did kill. Jackie squeezed his hands. It's possible, isn't it? No, unlikely. The man stretched out his long legs and leaned back against the wall, crossing his arms behind his head, and said thoughtfully, he wouldn't kill anyone, but he would definitely take advantage of the situation. Do you have any enemies at all? Jackie asked. Oscar, please try to remember. Enemies. Just you. He glanced at her. You were such a bully. Always nagging and scolding me. You're kidding, exclaimed the woman. Let's be serious. Your life depends on it. Oh, come on, Jackie. What can you do? He rubbed his face with his hand. I have a lawyer. He says it's better to plead guilty. But I don't even know what to write. I didn't kill her. Tell me, Jackie demanded. What happened? Tell me everything. Oh God, I've already told this story 100 times. Do you think it's pleasant for me to remember? Okay, listen. Things hadn't been going well with Zoe for a long time. At least 1.5 years. At first, everything was fine. Love, shared plans, butterflies in the stomach. And then Oscar suddenly realized that he was just bored with his wife. She was much younger, only 25 when they got married. They had nothing to talk about. Zoe didn't like that Oscar preferred to spend his free time at home. She wanted to go out, party, while he preferred reading in the cozy study or working out in the home gym. We didn't even argue, Oscar said thoughtfully. We just grew apart, I guess. I made a mistake. I married because there was passion. And when that faded, it turned out we had nothing else. Talks of divorce began. Zoe didn't want a divorce, and Oscar understood why. He bought her a car. They lived in his house, which he had built before the wedding. Zoe earned much less than Oscar. She didn't want to lose the new lifestyle. Discussions of divorce always ended in a heated argument, and Oscar decided it was easier to live like this. They slept in separate bedrooms, hardly talked, but didn't interfere with each other. What about marital relations? Jackie asked timidly. And how does that matter? Oscar asked quietly. They almost disappeared for us too. That's how it was. I even knew she was cheating on me. Come on, really? Jackie was surprised. Of course, she was cheating. And in the most banal way. With the gardener, can you imagine? She hired the guy herself. You know, like from those movies. But I didn't care anymore. Every time I talked about divorce, she would threaten to kill herself. I decided to wait until she got tired of all this. Until she found someone and suggested parting ways. Stupid, right? Yes, very stupid. Jackie agreed with him. You would have waited 10 years, if not more, right? You probably found someone too. I didn't find anyone. Didn't even want to. He shrugged. I worked a lot to be at home less. Stayed in my city apartment. Strange life. And that evening I found out she was stealing money from my account. And it drove me crazy. She could take as much as she wanted. Just not from the funds I used for business development. Anyway, we talked. She yelled, but she calmed down. She reminded me of Audrey. Can you believe it? Wait, which Audrey? Jackie was astonished. I don't know about her. Oh, I haven't told you about that, said Oscar. It was a nasty story. In short, I had this girl, met her at the gym, went on a couple of dates with her and realized she wasn't for me. Shez was strange. She started stalking me, sending letters to my email, including my work email, with some horrible, crazy words. Like, the stars told her we were made for each other. She even had a vision that the savior of the world would be born from us. Well, that's schizophrenia. Jackie shuddered. Yeah, probably, nodded Oscar. Anyway, she even called me when I got married to Zoe. Spewing nonsense. I ended up changing my number. You should have reported her to the police, suggested Jackie. Well, what's the point? What would they do? I just figured she'd get tired of it sooner or later. Oscar shook his head. She even showed up one evening, demanded that I talk to her. I refused and called security. So, what happened next? Sighed Jackie. Well, nothing much. That evening, Zoe said that I was sleeping with this Audrey. And basically, I'm a jerk who suffocates her. But I told her we'd divorce, and she could breathe all she wanted. Then she told me she was pregnant. It was a complete nightmare. Pregnant? Jackie was taken aback. No, of course not. She lied, said Oscar. The test showed there was no pregnancy. Maybe she wanted me to stay with her. I don't know. For money. Oscar, this is all too strange, said Jackie. What do you think? I don't know what to think. His voice was emotionless. I don't think anything anymore, just waiting to see what happens next. But I didn't kill her. I don't know who could have. A lover, Jackie suggested. Why bother? Oscar was surprised. It's too strange. I even thought maybe she killed herself. But it's stupid. Very stupid. Okay, we need to figure this out. Hire a private detective and the best lawyer. Jackie started listing. And what else? What else? Maybe the maid could be guilty. But her car arrived later than the time of the murder, as the examination showed. And what motive would the maid have? She only worked for us for 2 months. Hardly spoke to Zoe. All right, I'll talk to her, promised Jackie. And what? Do you think she'll talk to you? Oscar turned his head to look at Jackie from top to bottom. The police have already done their work. They found out everything they could. Plus, the camera data. Her car is visible there. She came alone. Time's up. Adam peeked into the room. Say your goodbyes, Oscar. I'll get you out. Jackie hugged her friend's shoulders. Oscar, I promise, I'll get you out. Jackie, it's better if you don't, he whispered. Just forget about me. Go see Vanessa. There's something there for you. What? Jackie pulled back. What does she have? You'll find out. Oscar kissed Jackie on the forehead. Jackie, goodbye. The next step was a long journey through the gray corridors and iron doors. Stairs, dim lights, an uncomfortable cold clang. Jackie flinched every time another door closed behind her. This wasn't the place for Oscar. He's not a killer. Arriving home, Jackie called Haley. She was at work. So, what's up, girlfriend? Haley asked. Did you find out anything? No, Jackie replied. There are some really strange things going on there. I don't know what to think. Who could possibly need Zoe? Maybe we should talk to his maid. She definitely saw something, knows something. I have no doubt the police questioned her poorly, and you know how to conduct interrogations, right? Haley sighed. All right, let's do this. Tomorrow we'll visit her if you find out where she lives. Okay, I'll be there with you. Yeah, I'll try, Jackie promised. I forgot to ask him where she lives. Got too nervous. He also told me to go see Vanessa. All right. Who's this Vanessa? She's his secretary. They've been working together for a long time, Jackie replied. He said there's something for me there. Well, then deal with that, Haley said. And keep me updated, please. We'll figure something out. I promise we'll get your Oscar back. First, Jackie decided to go to the office where Oscar's firm was located. Surely, Vanessa would be there. Leaving her daughter with Victoria, Jackie headed to the specified address. She found the office without difficulty. It now occupied 2 floors of the business center. Yes, Oscar's business seemed to be doing well. Vanessa, Oscar's secretary, was sitting near the office with a nameplate bearing Oscar's name. Jackie recognized her immediately. Vanessa had matured, looked better. "Oh, hello. Oscar said you'd come before the arrest," Vanessa said, her eyes shining with tears. She must be worried about her boss. "I only found out yesterday," Jackie said, sitting in the chair opposite Vanessa's desk. "I visited him. How is he?" "All right." "What are they saying?" Vanessa asked eagerly. "Oh God, I feel so sorry for him. He helped me so much. Got my husband a job on a construction site, too. Oscar's such a good person, always helping everyone." "I can't believe that, and I don't believe it either," Jackie interrupted her. "What did Oscar say to pass on?" "Oh, I'm sorry." Vanessa wiped her eyes with her hand. "Here, a letter." She handed Jackie a thick white envelope made of heavy paper. Jackie put it in her bag without opening it. "Vanessa, do you know anything? Have you heard anything? I'm interested in his maid. Who was a witness?" "Well, her name seems to be Anita. I was the one who looked for her. Called several agencies, interviewed 5 girls, and Anita came in response to an ad. I liked her the most. Modest, cute, and she really needed the job. Seems her mother's ill, and Oscar trusted me with these matters. So, I chose her." "Do you have Anita's contact information? Phone number, address?" Jackie asked. "Well, I think I do," Vanessa said, taking her phone to search for it. "Vanessa, was there anything else suspicious?" "Honestly, no," she sighed. "But here's the number. Write it down. I don't know the address, but her last name is Grayson. She's a nice girl. I feel sorry for her. She must have been scared when she found the body." Vanessa sniffled. "All right. Everything will be fine. Calm down. Oscar didn't kill anyone." "I know." Vanessa nodded. "He's such a good person, and he loves you so much. Did you know there's a photo of you and your daughter on his desk? Do you know about it?" "No." Jackie was surprised. "Do you want me to show you? Maybe some other time," Jackie muttered. "Thank you for your help." Jackie returned home feeling drained. It was fortunate that Victoria had prepared dinner. Jackie didn't even want to think about what Oscar might be eating. He loved to cook. Lasagna, risotto, Mediterranean cuisine. "Mom, have you found the killer yet?" Victoria asked, sitting down at the table. "What killer?" Victoria's question caught Jackie off guard. "Jackie, what happened?" Jackie had to briefly tell her about what happened to her friend Oscar. "You should look for a woman," her mother-in-law confidently declared. "There's always a woman involved in these stories." Jackie couldn't sleep at night. There were too many impressions, and she couldn't forget Oscar's unshaven, unhappy face. She didn't want to think about having to bring him toiletries for the next 15 years. The envelope. The woman suddenly got up from the bed. "I completely forgot about it." Jackie got up, crept into the corridor where her bag was hanging, and took out the envelope. Then she returned to her room and, sitting on the bed, opened it. Inside was a letter and a plastic card. Jackie began to read. "Jackie, you know you're the most precious person to me in the world. If something happens to me, I want you and Renee to be well. This card is for you. It gives access to an account, which hopefully has a decent amount. It will help you in life. Love you, Oscar." Jackie couldn't take her eyes off the last phrase. "Love you." And the PIN code for the card. At the bottom was the date. A year ago. Maybe Oscar was afraid of something. Or maybe he just decided in advance to take care of them with Renee. Jackie burst into tears, burying her face in her knees. How silly and ridiculous all of this was. She fell asleep almost towards morning. Her daughter didn't wake her up, so Jackie opened her eyes at 1 in the afternoon. She didn't know what to do. Probably, she should talk to Anita, Oscar's housekeeper. But about what? First, Jackie called Haley. "Of course, you can't say you're acquainted with Oscar," Haley stated. "If Anita is hiding something, she'll keep hiding it. Understand?" "Okay. What should I tell her?" Jackie asked. How do I even start a conversation with her? Haley pondered. Well, I don't even know. Who do you unconditionally trust? Well, you, Renee, Jackie replied. And my mother-in-law too. Oh, and Oscar. That won't work. Haley chuckled. We need something else. We need to get her talking. Oh, listen, Vanessa said Anita's mother is sick. Call her and say you are calling about the treatment quota. But I don't even know what she's sick with. Jackie hesitated. Oh, come on. Just pretend to be secretary. Say you were told to contact her. Get details. We'll figure something out from there. Haley, who's going to believe me? Jackie frowned. That's not how things work. It's true that's not how things usually go. But regular people don't know how the system works. Haley insisted. Do you want to save Oscar or not? Let's make the call. Jackie spent half an hour pacing around her apartment, trying to come up with a plausible story. Finally, she gathered her thoughts and dialed Anita's number. Anita answered almost immediately. Anita Grayson? Jackie asked sternly. Yes, Anita replied. Who is this? I'm from the Department of Health regarding your mother. I need to clarify something. When would be convenient for you to meet? I'll come to you. Jackie tried to make her voice sound as authoritative as possible to discourage any objections from Anita. Anytime. Anita agreed readily. Is there a possibility of getting her treatment? Yes, there is. But I need to clarify something. Jackie repeated. Can I come today? Well, you could. I'm at home. Anita replied timidly. All right. Give me the address. Jackie demanded. Don't you have it? Anita asked. I do. But I need to confirm it. Jackie said. Anita decided not to argue and gave Jackie the address. Hanging up the phone, Jackie couldn't believe how smoothly it had gone. Now, she just needed to figure out what to do next. After saying goodbye to Renee, Jackie called a taxi. Anita lived on the outskirts of the city, in a multi-story apartment building. The area was considered rough. Jackie rarely visited here, but she had heard it was best to avoid, especially in the evenings. She climbed to the 8th floor and pressed the doorbell. She even brought a folder for appearance's sake, printing out some standard medical service contracts in advance. Yes, she was deceiving Anita, but she must really want to help her mother. Jackie felt uncomfortable about it, but she had no choice. The door opened. Jackie saw the apartment's owner, a young woman around 25 with long curly hair tied up in a messy bun, dressed in a worn-out tracksuit. Hello, I'm here about your mother, Jackie said. May I come in? Yes, of course. Anita stepped aside. Come in. We can go to the kitchen. Jackie was struck by the kitchen. She hadn't seen such a mess in a long time. Dirty dishes in the sink, empty beer bottles on the floor, stains on the walls. Jackie felt disgusted. But what could she do if Anita was forced to care for her sick mother? Perhaps she simply didn't have time to clean. Although there wasn't the characteristic smell of a bedridden patient in the apartment. The guest cautiously sat down on an old chair. Anita slumped into one opposite. Mom's in treatment right now. Anita smiled. I'm taking a break. It's expensive, of course, but otherwise, I'll go crazy. So, what's wrong with her? Jackie blurted out. Anita looked surprised. Don't you know? Schizophrenia with exacerbations. It's been 5 years. Nothing helps. Sometimes she seems to get better, and then there's another exacerbation. Sometimes she thinks aliens are following her. Sometimes voices tell her to do something. It's awful. Yes, it must be hard for you. Jackie sympathized sincerely. There's a treatment quota. But before deciding anything, Anita, I need to talk to you. You understand? It depends on many factors. Yes, I understand. Of course. Anita lowered her gaze. Are there any methods? There are some, Jackie admitted honestly, but no guarantees. All right. Tell me about your mother. What symptoms does she have, and where has she been treated? Anita began her story. Nothing unusual. Her mother gave birth to her late, At the age of 40, when Anita turned 15, the first oddities in her behavior began. She wrote something in thick notebooks and hid them from her daughter, disappeared for whole days, wandered aimlessly around the city, bothering the neighbors. The diagnosis was quickly made. Schizophrenia. Did they send you to an orphanage? Jackie asked. No. My sister took care of me. Anita replied. She's 8 years older, so everything was arranged properly. I have an important question. Jackie looked Anita in the eyes. Have any other relatives of yours had something similar? Anita shook her head too quickly. No, nothing like that. Anita, let's not lie. Jackie said. Well, my sister, she had some problems. She was being treated for depression. And also, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter. I'm sorry for prying into your personal life, but I need to know everything. It affects the prognosis, and therefore the prospects for treating your mother. Jackie leaned forward. This will stay between us. You don't have to worry, Anita. Well, my sister, she had something like a love dependency, and a man treated her very badly. Very. Anita clenched her fists. And then she was very ill. She tried to kill herself several times. But it's not schizophrenia. It's just, well, it happened. How did it happen? Jackie asked. That man had a wife, and she treated my sister terribly. She just wanted to call and talk to that man. And that woman said horrible things to her. Anita seemed to be getting furious. Jerk. Well, you've got yourself a wealthy man. Why do that? I don't understand. My sister barely survived it and jumped out of the window. She had a pelvic fracture. You know, they barely got her out. My poor Audrey. Jackie was taken aback. Audrey? Yes, her name's Audrey. And that woman Zoe. She's a horrible person. Horrible. I don't understand why she couldn't let go of her husband. She didn't need him. She slept with anyone, but didn't want a divorce, of course, because he was rich. I hate her. She deserved her death. All right. Let's get back to your mother, Jackie requested, trying not to reveal her agitation. Do you have any medical records? I'd like to take pictures of them. After 40 minutes, she stepped out onto the street. First, she needed to call Michael, her friend from university days. He worked at one of the best clinics specializing in psychiatric disorders. Surely, he could help her mother Anita and poor Audrey. Jackie also had a recording of her conversation with Anita, which she planned to show to Oscar's lawyer. Oscar was released only after a month. It turned out that Anita killed Zoe. She confessed to it herself. Anita and Audrey's mother were able to get treatment. Jackie was tormented by guilt. She couldn't just leave them without help. On the day Oscar was released, Jackie went to his country house. In the evening, they sat by the fireplace. Oscar seemed to not believe that it was all over. Jackie didn't know what to say to him. And now they were left alone. He sat on the carpet, gazing into the fire. Jackie settled nearby in the armchair, tucking her legs underneath her. Oscar, what was that bank account about? Were you afraid to die? No, he smiled, still not looking away from the flames. Just in case something happened. I couldn't leave you and Renee, could I? Thank you. Jackie reached out and tousled Oscar's hair. He caught her hand, pressing it against his cheek. Jackie froze. It's so stupid, he said softly. When I was in there, I thought a lot. Jackie, what's wrong with me? I tried so many times. Back in the park, when we kissed, I nearly lost my mind. I never thought it would be like that. And then, when we lived with Renee, the three of us, that's my best memory. And when I bought the phone, I gathered courage and planned to tell you everything I think. But you ran away then. When I married Zoe, I kept thinking, why wasn't it you? You were supposed to be my wife. But Zoe, no, I loved her, of course, but then I realized that Zoe wasn't my person. Jackie, it seems like all this time I've only loved you. But you, with Max, then running away from me. He looked Jackie in the eyes. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I have no one closer to me. No one I could relate to like you. You know, my mom told me not to let you slip away before she died. And I, apparently, couldn't. There's still time. Oscar. Jackie got up from the chair and sat down next to him. So take a chance. Maybe you'll succeed in something. But I don't guarantee anything. You're a bit too old for me, of course, but I'll try to ignore that. Bully. He whispered. Jackie, why are you such a bully? They got married a month later. Jackie joked that in their case, checking feelings